Hi, my name's Dave and you're listening to episode 55 of On the Bench, the fortnightly podcast by scale modelers for scale modelers, all about scale models. Available on iTunes, Stitcher and all good podcast apps. Fine Scale Modeler is proud to support On the Bench. Fine Scale Modeler is the world's most recognised and essential magazine and is available in all good newsagents and newsstands or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, go to their website www.finescale.com and subscribe to either a print edition or the digital edition. Or why not treat yourself to both? Go now. Go to www.finescale.com. A huge round of applause for our latest two Patreon supporters. Hello and welcome to Brad Ralston and David Lockhart. It is the support of people like these two legends that help offset our publishing, production and equipment costs. You too can join this League of Heroes by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 upwards. Your contributions will be greatly appreciated by both myself and the team. And it's great to see that our listeners are getting outfitted with their very own On the Bench logoed apparel. If you want to stand out at your next club meeting or model show wearing a stylish t-shirt, sweatshirt or hoodie with the On the Bench logo, then go to shop.spreadshirt.com.au/onthebench. Or go to our Facebook page and click on the pinned link at the top of the page. This is our special Melbourne Model Expo episode and was recorded on the show floor. We're grateful to the organisers for allowing us to record yet again and thank them for the space that they provided us. Naturally, recording in a live environment has its challenges, and this episode is no different. But we hope you will forgive the sound quality at times and enjoy the range of guests that we caught up with. I would also like to personally thank all of our listeners who came up and made themselves known. It was really great to put faces to names. So without any further ado, let's get on with the show. And hello and welcome to the show from Melbourne Expo 2019. G'day Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day listeners.
And g'day Julian.
Good morning.
Well guys, first impressions. You had a chance to walk around and have a look?
Very impressed. There's well over 800 kits on this, in the competition.
Wow.
Club displays, there's some really nice club displays out there as well.
What surprised me is the amount of science fiction and Gundam clubs in this year. I think there's about 3 that I've seen.
Yeah, you can really see the popularity of that coming out now.
I think we're going to have to get some of those guys on the show, have a chat later on today, I think.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty good.
Well, I mean, I think there's probably been quite a large following of that stuff for a while, but now they're sort of being able to congregate and organise themselves and really sort of, form a community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, there's Michael walking past with a big swag of kits that he's purchased. Speaking of purchasing, have you guys bought anything yet?
Yeah, I have actually.
Oh, what have you got?
I bought a Sherman, a Tasca Sherman from Tasca. Yeah, it's in French markings, which is exactly what I wanted.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a good Sherman. It's the one with the cast hull, so it's got that smooth shape to it.
Oh, right. You love your Shermans, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the best tank.
And what about you, Ian?
Not a thing.
Oh.
Not a thing as yet.
Well, it's a gamble, right? If you buy too early, then you sort of go, you get to the swap and sell on the
Monday morning.
Yeah, and then you're like, I should have just waited.
Yeah,
Could have bought it for half the price or something.
Correct.
That's if you actually go to the swap and sell, which I'm electing not to this year.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to purchase any more that I've already got that I need.
Yeah. I know the feeling, but I don't know. I might still go. I might not. I don't know.
Oh, he's decided,
Don't
shall
know.
he or shan't he?
Don't know yet.
Well, a bargain's a bargain. If you're going to spend anything at the swap and sell, it won't cost you much. So
Yeah, too true.
That's true. Well, all I've purchased so far is a couple of little brushes to clean my airbrush. So that's pretty much it, really.
yeah. One interesting thing is this year's we've got God Hand as a vendor.
Yes, I saw them. Yes.
Quite pricey.
I was really shocked by the prices of God Hand, actually. I didn't realise it'd be that expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap, are they, Dave?
No, they're not.
No.
Not by a long shot.
I don't think they're selling anything under $100.
Well, there is. I mean, there's stuff like some nippers and stuff like that, but they're
brushes,
about,
yeah.
They're about the nippers are about $90 Australian.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they've always been expensive,
Yeah.
right? It just usually comes down to where you can get them from, and now there's quite a few sort of knockoff versions of it nowadays. And they've sort of retained that sort of status as like the best,
Yeah.
God Hand.
Yeah.
So they do have that reputation, the brand tax.
I reckon Display giving a run for their money now, though.
Oh, they would be, yeah.
You know, a lot
Definitely.
cheaper, and the quality looks to be just the same.
Yep.
So, yeah. Other news from the show today, we've had a look at some sprues from Wingnut Wings Lancaster.
And the Handley Page 0400.
Yep, so we're definitely going to get them on later on today so they can come over and have a bit of a chat. Unfortunately, Richard Alexander couldn't make the show this year, so we'll have to do with getting his second string on to talk to us about what Wingnut Wings are doing. So that should be pretty interesting later on.
Yep.
Now, Ian, you and I came across a 3D printed model.
Oh, that blew my whole mind.
Now,
Absolutely blew my mind.
tell everybody what it is.
1/72 scale,
Yep.
Saunders Road Princess flying boat, commercial flying boat.
And it is huge.
It is massive.
Yep.
This thing is huge. Like, it's a bit rough being 3D printed.
Yeah, it is.
It needs a clean up. But when you look at this thing, it's got 6 engines. 2 outboards have got just a single motor. The two inboards on each wing are dual motors, one sitting behind each other with contra-rotating props. And it just looks amazing.
I'll put a photo up on Facebook after we finish recording this.
It just blew my mind. It's
Yeah.
not something I'm familiar with.
Yep.
To be honest, I think that's probably the first time I've ever seen one.
Yes.
But as soon as I saw it, I've just gone, wow.
But just a guy just got off on his own and started 3D
Yeah, well,
printing.
apparently, from what the guys were saying, you can get it shipped here to Australia for $400.
Gee, that's for a very large kit, one-off 3D printing. That's not a bad price.
And it's got a full interior as well.
a full interior.
Yes.
Jeez. Okay.
So it's, yeah, if you got the room, you'd be looking at something close to the size of a 1/32 scale Lanc, maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But it just looks amazing.
And speaking 1/32 scale Lancaster, we had a look at the Hong Kong models Lancaster. One of the guys has built it and entered it in the
Oh, he's
competition.
done a marvellous job on that kit.
But it's huge.
Oh, it's a massive kit.
And just looking at how you'd have to sort of manhandle it and move it around. Well, for a start, your bench would have to be large.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be able to do it on my bench.
We're talking kitchen table sort of size.
Yeah, exactly.
And just the mechanics of actually, just even moving the kit around 180 degrees to get to another part of it or get to the underneath of it. Oh, gosh.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if you look at it, if the wings are separate pieces, right?
Yep.
If it was one piece for just the wings, all from one side all the way to the other, that piece would be bigger than the Shikaku.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, your work area is probably only half that size, right?
Oh, it's tiny. My workbench is tiny.
So, I mean, it's a big investment in box size.
Yep.
It's a big investment in bench size and display size.
Exactly.
So,
Sort of thing, once you built it, I think the only really way to display it would be build a coffee table around it.
or hang it from the ceiling like a ceiling fan.
Oh, no, never.
Ceiling fan?
No, never. That's sacrilege.
Hang it from the wall.
That's
hanger.
even worse.
I'm not
That's
even-
just
I'm
bad.
not a fan
we're
of
not
the wall.
We're not going to go there, Dave.
Do you guys are fans of wall hangers?
No,
No.
no.
I don't mind ships, right? Because that's a really convenient way to put ships on a wall, I reckon.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
but
kind of suited to it. But a plane does... But those bombers aren't really designed to fly vertically, are they?
well, I just think it's a nice way of displaying. Yeah, well, okay. All right, I'll leave that there. So what else have we been looking at?
There's a lot of things. I was looking at the. Now I'm not sure of the name of it. That's the problem. AFV Club have a new one of those, not Amtrak kind of things. Those amphibious troop carrier type things from the Vietnam War era. And this is a new version of it that has a turret on it.
Oh, the ones that the US Marines use.
Yeah.
The name escapes me.
I got no idea.
The name escapes me.
Yeah, they're these great big caterpillar type things, big like aluminium box, that comes out of the sea like a sea monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those things. They got one of those.
The Lab or something like that. Yeah, the US Marines use them the US Marines use them. The Koreans use them.
Yeah.
And I think there might be a couple of South American countries.
Yeah, well, this one has...
The Argentinians used to have them.
Okay, I'll take your word for that, Dave.
Yeah. So it's got markings for like USMC, Philippines, and Taiwan, because AFV Club is a Taiwanese manufacturer. So they've got the reason to build it. They often, when I think of AFV Club, I think of Taiwanese subjects because they're a Taiwanese company, and actually a lot of Vietnam subjects they do too. So it's kind of like an overlap. It's a perfect thing for them.
Yes, it would be, yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, one of the things that really impressed me, one of the kits on the table, was a guy who's gotten the 32nd scale, I think is it the Trumpeter F-14?
F-14.
Tomcat.
Yes. The F-14, yeah.
And it's basically like in the factory getting built. And
yes.
It just shows every detail.
Yeah, it's all alclad and yellow primer.
Yep.
Zinc chromate.
Yeah, it's got like little hydraulics for the wings, and it's
just
really amazing.
It's been dissected, right? It looks skeletal, and it's got like all the piping and cabling and all that
ribbing
sort of stuff.
and so forth. Yeah, it's just, to me, it looked really nice. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, I've seen that sort of thing done before, but and sometimes they're pretty rough because you got to build your own internal spars and all that sort of thing. But he's done a very good job of it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Very, very good. I've seen it done a few times. I've seen it done with some P40s and a few other things, but it's not for everyone.
No.
And it's this was a better than average attempt.
Correct.
By far.
Totally, yeah, that's. I said it really stuck to me. I liked it.
The AAVP7A1.
No, that's not the one.
Oh, isn't it?
That's the later one. That's the one that came after it. So you're looking for its predecessor.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries.
I think it's like LVTP5 or something like that. Yeah.
I'll take your word for that, Julian.
It looks like a big block, like a block of cheese, because it's got the rounded off edges,
Yep.
It's got those rounded corners on it. Yeah, that's the amphibious vehicle that I mentioned. If you're doing like Vietnam subjects, that's not a bad one to do.
I think I found it.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is,
LVTP5.
LVTP5. Yeah.
Looks like a block of cheese.
It just
A block of cheese.
Built by the FMC Corporation, the Food Manufacturing Corporation. They're the same guys who built the
Food Manufacturing Corporation.
Yeah, that's right.
So it is a block of cheese.
It's the same company that built the M113 from memory, the APC.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I've been seeing a few of those floating around. So AV Club also do the Vietnam M113.
Yes, they do too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was nearly tempted to buy it, but I decided no.
Tempted to buy it?
No, I decided not to. So quite happy with what I got so far. We'll see what the rest of the week brings on, or the rest of the weekend, I should say, because no doubt something. I can't go without buying something.
Yeah, I know. It seems a shame, doesn't it?
It seems a waste. I mean, I've got the funds there, so yeah, no. It's like going to the horse races and not having a bet.
Yeah,
okay. Or going to the casino and not, putting $5 through a slot machine or something.
It's funny how
I can do that.
Can you really?
Walk through a casino and keep my hands in my pocket.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, actually, when I think of it, I can too. But I can't do the same when I go to a hobby shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I like
what happened last time we went to a hobby shop?
Yeah, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, I went there to buy one Gundam kit.
Yeah.
Ended up coming home with a couple of pots of new guns, flat clear, and Wingnut Wings Fokker D7.
Speaking of Gundam kit, how is your Musaru Cup kit coming along, your Gundam one?
Since we spoke last week,
Yep.
I haven't touched it, so it's still in its ready for painting stage.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. I mean, we're at Expo. That's
Yeah.
what's on our mind right now.
Exactly.
You know?
True.
So I'm not even going to touch it till probably next weekend.
You can get some nice luminescent paints and stuff, I've noticed, over at SMS Paints.
No, I'm going to paint it as per the box says.
Come on, you know you're tempted.
Red. No, I'm not.
He's not enough of an enthusiast of the subject to go the extra mile.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll paint it, give it a nice bit of weathering, and then I can move on to something else.
Wow, what are you going to move on to?
I've no idea yet.
I think I might build a car next, maybe.
Oh, good.
A car, you?
At this time last year, I was building a car.
What sort of car?
I can't remember. I didn't finish it.
And Ian has a crack at me about not finishing kits, and look, and there's you admitting it.
Yeah, well, you know.
What's also been really good while we've been here is the amount of people who've popped over and said g'day.
Yes.
Which has been really good. And I think it was Paul from Queensland.
Yes, Paul.
He said that Paul or Adam, geez, so I'm sorry, I can't remember which one it was now, popped over and said g'day to me. He's come all the way down from Queensland, which is a fair hike, and he says there's no model clubs up his way, and this show is his model club for him. So I thought that was...
That's good news, isn't it? That's good to hear.
brought a tear to my eye, that did.
You
That was really
softy.
good. Oh, I can't help it.
Yeah, it's been good. I've met a few people. It's been good showing them the kits that I've been working on, the
Yeah.
ones they've heard about,
Yeah.
seeing them in person,
Yeah.
other than just the photos I upload to the Facebook.
Yeah, I've had similar with the Shikaku. Lots of people chatting to me about the Shikaku.
You haven't got a for sale sign on it, though.
No,
Yeah, what are you doing?
I know, I should do that tonight, make a little for sale sign.
Yes.
Little tiny ones, just says for sale.
Yeah.
Little,
Make a little A-frame.
Little-
Tiny little A-frame.
POA, price on advice.
Yes.
put your
Yeah.
phone, maybe put your phone number on it too.
Oh, yeah.
You'll
That's
get all
an
these
idea.
cranks calling you if he
So
does
I was
that.
thinking I'll start getting all these crank calls.
Yeah. How
Especially
much
with-
for the model? The
especially with-
model ship, how much?
Yeah, especially when they find out what I'm asking for it.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's too true.
All right, well, I think we'll stop it there. We'll go and get a couple, we'll go drag some guests on now. We'll get somebody from the actual show organisers in to have a chat. I'm especially keen to hear from them, given the event that happened over in the UK with that train show. Let's see whether they've made any sort of security changes or arrangements.
Yep. Michael Gibson, we'll probably grab him on.
Yeah, we'll grab Michael. We'll certainly
Grab
Martin from Wingnut Wings, have a chat,
Yep.
and a few other guests as well from the Gundam guys. We've also got lined up some other people who I won't reveal just yet, but they'll be revealed in the fullness of time. And hello, and now we've got Lawrence, who is one of the show organisers this year for Model Expo, or Melbourne Model Expo, I should say.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Lawrence.
Hello, how are you?
Great. So, do you want to just give us a bit of a feel for what it takes to organise a large show like this?
Oh, okay, we've got a core committee of 7 people. They're representatives from a range of different clubs that form the Melbourne Expo entity. It takes 12 months to prepare for the show. We meet monthly in the lead up to it. In the last month, there's actually 2 meetings in that month, and a lot of activity behind the scenes in organising our retailers, club displays, sponsors, and trying to put it all together. So it's fairly constant. The 6-month lead up is where it really starts getting busy, and especially in the last 3 months.
And we need to add that's all volunteer as well.
That is correct. It's
Yep.
all volunteers. Yep.
Which is a huge effort for such a large show.
It is. The show itself covers 2,000 square metres. We generally have around about 24 to 25 retailers. There's about 24 or 25 clubs displaying, and they display on a specific theme, generally.
Yep.
And this year we've had about just under 840 models entered in the competition itself, which is our record. Last year was just over 800. This year it's broken it quite significantly. And that's spread across about 70 different categories that models can be entered into.
And that's not also counting the models that have been put on by the different club displays, as you mentioned. So if you add them to the mix,
we
you're
can get
probably
up
looking at about 2,500 kits.
Correct. Yeah, I was about to say it's about 2,500 kits will be on display throughout the entire hall.
Yeah.
That'd be one of the biggest in the world.
It's not one of the biggest in the world, but it's actually quite favourable in size when you compare our Australian population.
Correct, yeah.
So you've got places like the UK Telford, the IPMS Nationals. They're bigger, but they're supported by a huge population number, like 250 million in the US alone.
Yeah. Well, the US is actually our largest listener base, and over half the people listening to the show come from the US, so that's just a huge market over there. It really is.
Yeah. The only difference between us and, say, the US is they move it from a different IPMS chapter to a different state each year. We've got the benefit where it's always hosted here in Melbourne. It's got that core committee that I was speaking about. So the opportunity for continuous improvement is there for us, where that's not there if you necessarily move from location to location and a different team.
Yep.
The show, to get to where it is now, has really benefited from that ability for that continuous improvement. In July, we'll have our first meeting for the committee, and that's going to be a review of the event, of everything that worked well, that we want to repeat and build on, things that didn't work so well, and what we can do to improve them as well.
One of the things that impresses me is you managed to keep a cap on the pricing as well. And I can understand why, like, to enter a kit is $5 for one kit and $3 for every additional kit afterwards. And that then gives the entrant, or the person who entered those kits, a pass to come in for the entire 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about value for money. I mean, $8 and you can come and go. I mean, that's just... How have you guys managed to keep the cap on the price for so long?
Okay, no pun intended, the model that we actually have is finances or revenues gained from 3 different categories. And I'll sort of give you a breakdown because we're pretty transparent on this.
Yep, sure.
The actual modelers that come through, the revenue we gain from them doesn't cover the cost of the trophies at all. It's quite short from that. The retailers who pay to retail here doesn't even pay for the venue, but they're all very necessary ingredients to attract the public.
Yes.
Correct. So this show relies heavily on the public who comes in and supports the show. But it's that symbiotic relationship where you can't have it working without one or the other pieces missing. We're very cost conscious as well, so I do guard that. And I'm sure I drive the committee up the wall as well with all that. And especially in the tough years, because you've actually got to spend money to be able to earn that revenue.
Yeah.
Now, we're a not-for-profit organisation, but we do run it like a business. We are looking to make a small profit because the following years, there's going to be increases.
And improvements you want to bring in too.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So we know that cost of tables will go up every year. Every year from clubs and retailers displayed, there's always an increased demand for more tables.
Yep.
So that starts creeping the cost up as well. We do manage to keep a bit of a cap on it, but I would say that 2020 is where we're going to actually have to review that because we're at that point now where we've kept it frozen for a number of years. But I would say 2020 is when there's going to have to be some small increases just so we can keep up with the increase in costs for us to actually run the show.
Yep.
Well, it's for the cost of a cappuccino to enter my model kit, I reckon it's outstanding value, and if you need to raise it another couple of dollars, I mean, that's nothing, I think.
Yeah.
That's just
So
my
just
view.
think how much people blow at Expo anyway when it comes to money.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. I think the real bargains when people come into the swap and sell, that's an additional $5. It's run like a different event. And some people will look at you because it is separate, and they'll pay their $5. They'll give you a quizzical look. Some will. And then you'll see them walking out with 2 or 3 bags full of models where they've spent $200 or $300.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's probably the best spent $5 in the country.
Because you've just gotten the value of about $400 worth of kits for $200.
Yeah. And we find in our show, different to other states in Australia with their shows, whereas swap and sells, from what I've heard, are not so favourable to shows, but we find it an added benefit.
Yes.
Where people who are retailing then get cashed up from selling their second-hand kits.
Yep.
They come down looking to buy the latest and greatest from the retailers here. the people who have bought their bargain kits then are back down at the retailers looking for aftermarket accessories,
Yes,
decals and so forth. So we find it actually contributes to the whole picture.
It feeds itself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how many people through the doors this show do you expect to have?
We'll get anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 members of the public coming through.
Yep. Per day or over the entire show?
That's over the entire show.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking at roughly 1,000 per day.
Yeah.
Saturday's the busiest day because we've got modelers in and also public because they want to get to the retailers early and get that one or two kit that's on their shelf.
Yep.
Sunday, if you want to say slightly quieter,
Yes.
but it's still quite busy and quite hectic.
Well, I'm looking at the floor now, and there's still quite a few people out there for a Sunday. It's what,
Definitely
only
is.
12:30 on Sunday?
Yep, and it'll be like this all the way through Sunday.
Yeah.
And then come Monday, you've got all the competitors coming back for a presentation, swap and sell. So Monday gets really busy as well.
Yeah. Now, did you have it in the back of your mind with what happened over in the UK with that train show that got trashed tragically by those vandals? Is that something that was in the back of your mind for planning this year's show?
Not really. One of the good things about this venue is the security is first rate. So once we shut down, public are out, and then after the committee have left, the site has got an alarm system. It's got infrared sensor and heat detectors. There's on-site security 24/7, and I believe they even have guard dogs as well with those security people,
Well,
and
there
it's
you go.
live-on security. So the models and everything here are probably safer than sitting at home.
Exactly, I was thinking the same thing.
The biggest issue you've got is actually driving here to the show with your model in the car.
Yeah, yeah.
Risk of more
That's where you
damage
get
then.
more damage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, look, from us, thanks for allowing us to come here again for second year running. Our hats off to you and the rest of your organisers and volunteers who make such a great show. We've had a lot of people coming up to us who are down from Queensland and New South Wales, South Australia, and they're all coming up and saying just how wonderful the show is, and there's nothing like it anywhere else in the country. So that's a big feather in the cap for you, Lawrence, and the rest of your guys. And from us and our listeners, without people like you who would go to all this length and do all this work, well, we'd have nowhere to sort of showcase and brag
Exactly.
about our models, would we?
Yeah, yeah. And I've got to say, and thank you for the feedback, but I must say thank you also to the volunteers that we have to help, that actually help us out on the weekend. It would be impossible to cope with the workload without them.
Especially judging.
Well, especially last night.
Well, we haven't even touched on judging yet, have we?
Yeah, well,
Because that was that was last night, and it must have run for a good 6 hours last night.
Yes, it did. We left at about 11:30. We were fortunate that we had 60 judges,
Oh, okay.
which is our biggest number that I can recall,
Yep.
which we're thankful with 840 models to go through. And we managed to judge all of the categories by the time we left.
Wow.
And that's what we always try to aim for. But we also try to incentivise those volunteers as well.
Yeah.
Because they're here on a Saturday night, they're giving up their Saturday night, and it is through dinner time. Model Expo Springs for pizza dinner and drinks. And in the last 2 years, for the judges that can actually stay, because we're incentivising judges not to just have dinner and then disappear after one category, but to keep them here, we have like a kit raffle at the end.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's a number of kits that are out there, and it can be a mixed bag.
Yep.
And everybody gets a raffle ticket, and your ticket gets drawn out first. You get to select from the 60-odd kits.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
If you're the last ticket to get drawn out, well, it's pretty much the last one that's there, so you get what you get.
You end up with the Gundam teddy bear.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I did judging last night, and I walked out with a Tamiya 0.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem is I probably won't build it because I just finished making a whole bunch of Japanese aircraft. So oh well, luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Put in the
So,
stash for later.
yeah. And again, it's to incentivise judges, but also to say thank you for giving up their Saturday night.
Yeah.
Because even the volunteers are giving up their time away from their hobby also, where they could be home modelling, but also away from their family.
Yeah.
But I think that what time would you get in the morning? Like yesterday morning, what time did you get in?
So that was Saturday. Those mornings I'm here 8 a.m.
Till 1 o'clock before you left?
Friday night I would have left about 11 o'clock.
Yep.
Saturday night's around about midnight. Tonight it will
That's
be
a
the
long-
early night, which will
Yeah.
be 6 o'clock.
Yep.
and tomorrow night, once we finish up and after presentation, all of this has to get packed up. So we're probably still going to be here till probably 7:30. And I'm fortunate, lucky, I guess, with a little pun. I live closest to the venue. So I get the Guernsey, and also being director, it sort of comes with the territory that I'm back here on Tuesday morning because all of the gear has to be picked up by all the different suppliers. And I'm just here to make sure that supplier A picks up their tables, supplier B gets their tables, and just make sure it works smoothly. That's for our benefit. But also Sandown Racecourse has been really cooperative with us and really helpful. And of course, we want to make sure that all that's happening seamlessly. Not causing a problem for them because they've got other events that are running throughout the week as well. So we want to make sure that there's nothing left over that's getting in their way.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Can I just say that, you come across as being very business-minded about how expos run.
Yes.
But at the same time, I really appreciate the understanding of the community and the symbiotic relationship between the two.
Yeah, and we are aiming for that, and it is a very conscious thought. That we're all modelers ourselves. We're part of the community, so we have that aspect, and it's very close to our hearts. But a show this size, you do actually have to run it as a business. So we try to keep those two together as best we can. Unfortunately, sometimes you've got to make a hard decision.
Absolutely, I get it.
So we say with a show this size, if we've got most people happy for most of the time, we will consider that greatly successful because we know we're not going to keep every single person happy about every single thing, especially when you come to a model competition.
There's always going to be someone that
hours into it. It's precious to them, and so it should be, which is great. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work exactly right for them.
Exactly right.
So, but we try and be as transparent about our event, the competition, the way it runs, the judging, because we believe to forearm the competitors so they know exactly what to expect, so they can prepare for that. And also with that group of 60 judges that we were talking about, a lot of them were first-time judges, so they get paired up with an experienced judge, and it's fantastic for them.
Because they learn so much.
Exactly. I would say that you could learn from doing judging in one night what would take you probably... You'd have to build 30 or 50 models and gain that same experience that you get from judging and looking at what other people have done or not done quite right. It's a great learning curve, and we highly recommend it to somebody or anybody.
Absolutely.
So with the judging that I did last night, I was the more experienced one because I judged 2 previous years with some experienced guys. I would still want to pair up with a more experienced modeler because there's always I think there's more to learn from the different ways people look at things,
Yeah. I had a first-timer with me yesterday, and we went through a category. And after we'd finished that category, I recommended to him to now pair up with another experienced judge. Because while we've got a very definitive set of rules of how we actually do, criteria, it's just getting a slightly different insight and a different focus from another experienced judge where they just look at things slightly different.
And I think, too, you can also, by doing that as well, you can help sort of weed out that bias that will naturally come in as well.
Correct. We won't say that our system is perfect. It is technical judging. It is set on a point score system. But the way we've laid it out is it's there to guide the judges.
Yes.
And it's to give them a range to say this particular category, if we're talking about, say, realism.
Yep.
Now, that's the only subjective one. The others are fairly objective.
Yep.
But it still tries to give a range and says, does it look like a toy? Does it look like a model? Can it look like the real thing? And give a range of point scores for each of those categories. So it's there to guide people. It's not perfect, but we find that it works very well.
I agree.
Totally.
Very good. Lawrence, thank you very much once again for popping on the show. Thanks for allowing us to be here again, and we'll catch up with you no doubt next year.
You certainly will. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Bye.
Bye, mate.
And we're back, and this time we've got Ron from the Cardboard Commodore, and you exclusively build cardboard ships.
I do. I've been fascinated with model ships for a long time, and in card I can get models of ships that are just not available in plastic.
we've walked past and we've seen you numerous times here at the show, and we've been very keen to get you on because the cardboard ships look absolutely amazing.
They are incredible to see.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't. The scale models. You shouldn't be conscious of what they're actually made from.
Yep.
You should just be admiring them as scale models of the ships that they represent.
Correct. Yeah, totally agree.
So tell us a bit about cardboard modelling as such, because here in Australia it's not a real big thing.
No, it's very much a Central European, and it's taken off in America through Polish immigration, I suspect, but not much known about in Australia. But the cardboard acts like scaled down plywood. It bends quite readily in one direction, but you have to use dressmaking techniques to get a compound curve out of the thing.
Yes. Yes.
So you tend to get sort of extra seams in your cardboard model that you wouldn't have in plastic, of course.
Yep.
It works okay in ships because I can pretend that they're seams and joints in the armour plate. Might not work so well in other forms. But I think model armour works well in card.
Yeah, it would,
if you're prepared to create each individual link in the track as a separate piece.
Boy, that'd keep you going for a while.
People come to me and they say, how long does it take to make one of these things? And I say, well, the time taken is in inverse proportion to the size of the part. I can knock up a hull in a couple of weeks, and then I'll spend 4 or 5 months doing the rest of the fit out of the ship.
Yes.
And they say, if it takes that long, that's nice, you must have lots of patience, and then they sort of sadly walk away.
Because they know they don't have the patience.
So how does the kit actually come?
Well, it comes in a booklet form.
Right.
And those of us who are old enough can remember the sort of models we got on the back of the Wheatie packets years ago. But these are now very sophisticated. The designers are using computer-aided design software.
Yep.
And so they're very exact scale models, very detailed. But they come in a booklet form. And so...
a lot of them are Polish, aren't they?
Yes, I'm ordering most of mine from overseas because you can't get them in Australia.
No.
Although Ben Fenton was here 2 years ago,
right,
and I was able to stock up on some of his. But I haven't seen him. He hasn't come back since then. But
you probably emptied it out of stock.
I think we probably did. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So unfortunately, because we don't seem to have any suppliers in Australia, I'm having to order them over the internet.
Yes.
So they come in a book form and pre-coloured.
Yes, they are pre-coloured. I do. Of course, when you get something from Central Europe, you don't always agree with the colour scheme they're supplied. And also I can. The advantage of card, I can rescale these models. So all my ships are in 250 scale.
Right.
But a lot of the models that I'm getting from Central Europe are in 200 scale. I actually scale them down a little bit.
Right. Yep.
I do that because I scan them in and print my own copy of the sheets.
Yep.
I have an unlimited supply of spare parts that way.
I bet you do.
I can play with the colours, but I can also rescale the model to my preferred scale. And I find it's a personal preference. 200 scale to me is a bit big for a model ship, creates some storage problems.
Yes.
Lots of empty deck space. If I can scale that down 20%, I got exactly the same detail, but a much finer looking model. It pleases me anyway.
Correct.
Do you have to do all the internals of the ship to support the cardboard on the outside of the hull?
Yes, there's a honeycomb construction really on the inside,
right.
and it's not a single layer of card either. The card's laminated up to a thickness of maybe 1 millimetre or so, using a good old glue stick. It's all kindergarten playtime over in my modelling area.
Sounds good to me.
So with the glue, do you have to be careful the type of glue you use so that you don't get the paper too wet and get bubbling?
That's right. Look, there's a lot of good PVA craft glues on the market. Yes, you wouldn't use the standard woodworking glue. It's got far too much water content.
Yep.
But there are plenty of good PVA craft glues. The requirement is that it dries pretty quickly and it dries rigid.
Yes.
It's got to have enough filler in it to dry rigid, not flexible.
Yeah, and warp the card.
Well, and because a lot of your joins require a sort of 90-degree butt join so you don't want things wobbling around.
Exactly, totally agree.
And I'm using, in the masts, I'm using piano wire and cocktail sticks and whatever else you can find of the right diameter to stiffen up those sensitive areas.
Add the rigidity to it.
Exactly right. And I've learned now over the years I can actually wallpaper my piano wire so that I end up with a mast that looks as though it's paper, but there's wire down the inside. Gun
very
barrels
clever.
the same way as well.
Yes.
Well, that way you maintain the same texture across the whole model.
Yes.
So my gun barrels are also, have got either a plastic rod or a piece of wire on the inside with the cardboard wrapped around it.
Yep.
I like to make my own gun barrels, but that protects them from subsequent damage. If I'm going to be working on the ship for the next 6 months, I'm the greatest danger to the part that's already completed.
Yes, we all know that being modelers. Yes, at times we can be our own worst enemy.
So how did you get into cardboard modelling as against, say, plastic modelling?
Well, I'd started off as a youngster, as I say, with Wheatie packet cardboard models, so I was sort of familiar with the concept. But of course, I built the usual Airfix ships and planes at the time. Later on, when my children were growing up, we got onto a local newsagent who must have been a European, and he was having a special sale, and they were selling cardboard castles, and we bought a couple really cheap.
I remember
built
those. Yes, I remember those.
Yeah, wonderful, elaborate things. And so years later, I was reminiscing with my daughter, and I can remember the manufacturer's name, and we looked him up on the internet and discovered there was a lot more in there than just castles.
yes, that's right.
And then I discovered that I could make a model of the Cerberus, and of course, as a Melbourneite,
yes.
my great-grandfather, my family pointed out to me, served on the Cerberus. He joined
wow.
up in 1885 as an able seaman in the
Yes.
colonial navy. So the Cerberus has got and of course the Cerberus model, to my knowledge, and there might be a resin one, but
There
to
is,
my
yes.
knowledge,
I've got one,
is a cardboard model. It's in 250 scale.
Right.
So that sort of started me off with the cardboard and the scale, and we've just kept going after that.
Fantastic. I'll have to have a chat with you later on about the Cerberus, because I've got a resin one
Right.
at 1 to 350, but it's only waterline.
Yeah, so was the 250 scale.
So
one
what
at
I'm
the
actually
stage, yeah.
chasing after is the bottom shape of the hull, so I can do a full hull version of it.
Apparently the underwater hull's not particularly streamlined, and the thing sailed like a dog. But
Oh, yes,
that's
that's right. Yes. Well, then when they sent it over to Australia, they originally had it on sail, didn't they?
Well, no, it came under steam power, but they did have some auxiliary sail.
Yeah.
But I think they'd loaded up the deck with coal. It must have been a very exciting voyage.
Well, it hasn't got much freeboard on it, so it would have been a very exciting voyage.
They built up the bulwarks with some slabs of timber, I believe. but if you read the captain's account, he had to stand on duck boards in his own cabin
because
the water's sloshing around.
Sloshing everywhere. Yeah, that's the thing when you're taking a monitor across an ocean. They're just not designed for that at all.
No.
Well, that's right. It's an amazing feat to actually get it here.
Too true.
What a tragedy we haven't preserved it.
I know.
No.
It's a disgrace for the state.
Anyway, cardboard models not only just do ships, but you do cars, aircraft, tanks.
lot of armour, yes.
Yeah, a lot of armour.
And aircraft. I mean, the canopies are a bit of a problem with aircraft.
Yes.
My skills don't lie in the thermoplastic area. So I stick to ships where it works really nicely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I noticed also you got some Formula One cars and so forth.
Oh, well, they're Ryan Noddard's Formula One cards. He's the racing driver of our team.
Yep.
And yes, he's downloading, again, I don't think he can get these in Australia. He's downloading them off the internet.
Yep.
Interesting, he tends to scale his upwards. I
Yep.
scale mine down a little bit.
And then he goes upwards.
Yeah, but that's what you can do with cardboard. You can once you've scanned it in, you can change the percentage on your scanner.
Yep.
You can build any scale you want to.
And as you said earlier, you scale yours all to the 1/250.
Yes.
That's great because Dave and I ourselves, when we do our ship models, we're always at 1 to 350.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you put them on display, it really shows the different sizes and shapes of each individual ship.
That's the point. Yes,
like
exactly.
Constant scale.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I can practice then, and I know what I can get away with in that scale.
Yes.
So it helps you when you're sort of departing from the plans a little bit.
Correct,
and
yep.
having to do some engineering of your own.
Yeah.
You sort of you know what that scale needs to have done.
Correct.
And you can build to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yep.
So for any listeners out there who might be interested in having a look at this type of modelling, 2 questions. First of all, where would you go as a starter?
Look, there's a wonderful English website called papershipwright.co.uk. David Hathaway has got some really interesting models. He's the fellow that supplies the Cerberus in 250 scale.
Right.
And he's got some other lovely little good starter models. Some of them are actually free downloads.
All right.
And some of the others cost about 10 quid, and the mail from England's really quick and cheap.
Yep.
So that's probably the go-to site for starters.
Yep.
After that, put in paper card models on the internet and you will get lots and lots of response.
I bet you do, yes.
And I guess that leads to my next question. I think you partially covered it. Costs. What's the an average cost for a kit?
About between $25 and $30 US, and you would expect to pay as much again for the postage from Europe if it's coming out airmail.
Yes.
Gee, that's a cheap kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I keep telling my wife, cardboard is cheap.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And when I crawl around on the floor for that part that's got flipped out of my tweezers and I can't find it, I can at least make another one and it doesn't cost me much.
Exactly, yes. Totally agree.
I think you've got the plastic kit modelers beaten in that regard.
Oh, you
that's
do.
for sure.
Definitely do. Definitely do.
Ron, thank you very much. It's been wonderful to have you on the show.
A pleasure.
And hope you can we continue to see you here at future expos as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
we definitely will, yeah.
Yes, we keep on building.
Sounds great.
Thanks very much,
Thanks,
mate.
Ron.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And welcome back. And with us now, we've got Martin Reed. G'day, Martin. How you going?
I'm doing very well and great to be back with, on the bench.
Now, you were saying that... well, obviously, let's start with what you're actually doing here today at the show. So you're here with Warbirds, you're the club that you're with.
Yep.
But
So we've got a couple of displays on. One for Jets. This year's the 75th anniversary of the I can't even say the word. Operational Jets. I'll take the easy route.
Yep.
And we've also got a commemorative 10th anniversary display of Wingnut Wings.
And not only that, but you've also got some sprue shots of the new Lancaster from Wingnut Wings.
Yes, and also the Hanley Page 0400.
Yep.
So Wingnut Wings were kind enough to support us. Unfortunately, this year Richard was intending to be here but couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But they sent that over, and we also have one of his builds, the Fultz D12, and also a prototype of the Sopwith Camel from 216, because they actually didn't release any kits in 216. They were too busy on the Camel. So, but yes, those Lancaster sprues have got quite a few interested views.
Oh,
Well-
they are lovely.
Lovely. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Totally agree.
And I've taken some photos already and posted them on our Facebook page, but I just can't believe the interior detail, let alone the exterior detail. I mean, the wiring looms and where all the hydraulic lines come. You don't have to do anything with the kit. It's all there and ready to go.
Yeah, and I mean, look, what we're seeing here is just the advantage of modelers that have got the resources to be able to take the time and get it right, or as right as they possibly can. And
Not just the resources, though. I'd challenge you on that. It's not just the resources, but they're not being driven from, although it does play a part, I'd suggest it's not being driven purely from the economic standpoint.
No.
It's being driven from the passion side of things. And, oh, God, it shows in the results that they've got just in those sprue shots that we've been seeing so far on display.
Absolutely, and I mean, like particularly what we've got there today is or over the weekend, is the engine, all of the nose section. So you got all the oil canning across the skin, and different views on how stressed they actually were and that, but just beautiful, and nothing has been left. And also, I think it's really important to understand that what you see there is only going to get better.
Yes, exactly right, because they're just test sprue shots, those
And that's
ones.
from the second run.
Yes, yep.
And they're not. And to your point with the passion, is that they're still aiming for a pre-Christmas release if possible.
Yep.
But it will be released when it's ready.
Yeah. I'd much rather them get it right than rush it to a certain timetable.
Yes.
Oh, look, and
Yeah.
and without disrespecting the HK Models kit, I've seen a few people already come past, look at it, and made comment on now they've got buyer's regret. They wish they had have waited.
Well, we've actually been talking to somebody who's a bit of a Lancaster expert, and he's actually got the HK, and he was telling us all the issues that are with that kit.
Apparently there's a fair few issues with that kit too.
Yeah. And hopefully we can grab him and get him on the show. He's a bit shy, so...
He's a bit shy, yes.
But it'd be nice for him, especially considering that he's actually purchased a kit, so he knows what the mistakes and the issues are in the HK kit. and you can sort of talk through that.
Yeah, he's also a really big. He's really into Lancasters.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He knows them
an
inside and out.
Yeah. Well, we'll try and get him on, but he's
Hold time.
Just
He's
lie to him
particularly
and
shy.
tell him there's free Lancasters for guests.
there's a free Wingnut Wings Lancaster if he comes on the show. Yeah.
Oh no, he'll hold you up on that.
But yeah, look, it's been great to see people's reactions, and what I've personally found interesting in manning the stand there, or personing it as it is these days, is we've had quite a few non-modelers and non-aircraft modelers just come past and go, wow. Like they've just had that wow moment where they've looked at the sprues and they can see the detail, and fantastic.
The World War I kits that you've got there on display, the finished kits,
Yep.
Any reaction from the public sort of walking past non-aircraft modelers at all?
Not being funny, but the general common reaction is, how have you got the time or patience?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And even with seasoned modelers. And the thing is that their kits are just so well engineered. And this is the thing I say over and over again to people is just get one, just to have a go. And you'll find the engineering really, really good. It's very much builder friendly. If you've not built one before, all right, even if you choose not to do rigging or, sort of go to that nth degree, you can still enjoy out of the box and be really happy and proud of what you've got sitting on your shelf.
And look, they make great kits without the rigging. You don't have to go to that extreme. You can just build it as it is straight out of the box, and it'll still be a gorgeous kit to look at.
Exactly.
And at the same time, it'll build confidence with you with your modelling skills.
Well, what's been really interesting is that 3 of the modelers that have contributed to this, they've got their first wingnut kits on there, and 2 of them actually they built their first wingnut kit specifically for the display.
Oh, okay.
And these are good modelers, very good modelers, and they've done great jobs on it. And in each case, at the end of it, they've just gone, yeah, I get it now. I actually get it. You enjoy the engineering and all that sort of thing. So the theme of the display there, being the 10th anniversary, is that we've got a completed model from each year of release.
Yep.
As I said before, with the exception of 216, because they were busy working on the Camel. And even that makes it really interesting when you have a good close look and you can see where fit wasn't quite right at that part, and that was a build from January 2016. So they just kept working on it and just getting the tooling right so that you enjoyed that atypical wingnuts experience.
Yep. Absolutely wonderful.
So, look, I've had people come up to me and go, you're just a fanboy. And I go, yeah. I'm not seeing a problem here.
No.
I've got one in my stash. I still haven't built one yet. I've got an albatross sitting there.
Yeah,
Well-
same. I got one too.
Yeah.
Right, well, there's the OTB challenge, guys.
No. We've already got one in the Moosaroo Cup that's running at the moment, and Ian's taking care of that for us.
Yes, I am.
If we were always doing challenges, we wouldn't have time for anything else, I don't think.
Well, it's
that's
an
very
interesting
true.
point, Julian. I was having that chat with one of the modelers today, is that, just with our other display jets, we like to just sort of put on pretty much whatever's in the, in our stashes already built. And you can get caught up in the challenge builds and building for displays. And, we've had that chat
Very
on a
much so.
previous episode. And you don't want it to spoil the hobby for yourself.
Well,
Totally agree.
my one wings kit is identical to Ian's, and I'll build it when he builds his.
Oh, there you go.
All right,
So that'll be sometime next year then, Julie.
All right, okay. That gives me some time to work on some other things then.
all right, Martin, thanks for popping on the show. And
Thanks
we'll
for
let you know,
having
'cause
me.
I know you're busy and you get back to your stand and look after all those people who are coming over and oohing and ahhing over the Lancaster. So
Thanks, guys. Take
no
care.
worries at all. Thanks,
Same,
mate.
Martin.
Bye.
Right.
And we're back, and we've dragged along Jamie Davies, who's going to be having a chat about Finnish aircraft, I believe.
I think so by the sounds of things.
Anything you're working on? Anything you bought?
Yeah. G'day, Jamie. How you going? And welcome to On the Bench.
Thanks, Julian. What can we say? We were talking earlier about some decals for the FX Blenheim.
Yep.
I've got one almost finished. It didn't make it to Expo, but there's a couple of little things to, it's sort of one of those kits I wish I could go back and start again, because I think I've just managed to get the box section for the wings out, just that little bit out of alignment.
So you've had some issues.
Yeah, this is the Airfix 1/72 scale?
No, the new 48
The new
scale.
48 scale,
Yeah.
okay, right.
So pretty much out of box. I just use the Edward Zoom set for the instrument panels and things. But the center box is pretty much the only way I can sort of describe it. There's a tub above the Bombay parts, which you don't use in the version that they've released this time round. And that aligns the wings and the forward fuselage section. So you've got to be really spot on with it, because there is a problem with a gap at the wings with the Airfix kit, and I've seen other people have problems with it. But this sort of accentuates it on the left-hand side. And it's one of those tiny, subtle things that you think, I've got it right, that's good, that's not a problem. But it's had that ripple effect all the way through, and it's just driven me nuts. So if you're doing one, get that centre wing spar section spot on.
Is this the kind of thing you can solve with, like lots of test fitting and?
Well, yeah, I'm really, I'm an experienced modeller when it comes to doing that. Like, I don't get fooled into rushing into things, and it fits together quite well. It may be just that there's a little bit of slop there, and it's an area you think, oh yeah, no, it doesn't need to be too fantastically perfect, but it does.
Comes back and bites you.
It does, as always. So I'll build another one of them, I think, because while it hasn't ruined the kit, it'll be a much nicer building experience the second time round.
That's often the case, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think we all end up with multiple kits of different subjects. So
Yeah.
So which one are you doing this in? What scheme are you doing it in?
I'm doing it in all over green scheme. It's one of the early Finnish aircraft that were actually aircraft that were delivered from the UK. So the Finns had a contract with Bristol to build their own. Can't remember how many they built. It was 24 or something like that. Ed will probably correct me on that. So they license built their own Mark 1 and 2s. But the first batch, I think, of 12 came from British stocks. And to my surprise, the information that I found that actually nicely came with the SBS sheet is the early bombers that came into Finnish service had terrible trouble with the accuracy of the bombing and the Bombay doors sticking. And that was because British aircraft at the time, the Bombay doors were held closed by bungee cords. By bungee cords, and when you pulled the bomb release, the bombs fell out of their cradle inside the aircraft, and then hopefully the weight of them on the Bombay doors would force the bungee cords to open the doors, and they would fall out.
Okay.
Wow.
So the Finns took one look at this idea and went, nah, we're not doing that. And so what they did is they cut the Bombay doors in half. So the sides of the Bombay doors were left there, and the portion that would have made the underside of the fuselage, they just got a hacksaw and cut it away. So no need for the doors to open or close. They flew with open Bombays, and and no bungee cord madness.
Did you have to do these modifications to the kit, or?
Yeah, the kit comes with the under gun pack, so it's like one of those things they've not released the bomber version, but all the parts are in the kit, including the bombs to make the bomber version. So they supply you with the parts for open doors for the Bombay. They're just not in the instructions, but they're pretty easy to identify in the sprues. And just measured them and then carefully scribed them, cut them in half, and then glued the sides onto the kit. There we go.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
So your overall thoughts and impressions of the Airfix kit?
I've
Putting aside the issue you've had with the alignment.
it's only look. It's one of those tiny ones. When you've built a kit, you go, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done that." But
Yeah.
I've built a lot of Airfix kits over the last 3 years, and enjoyed all of them, including this one. Interesting subjects, nice engineering. It's not like Edward, and it's not like Tamiya. I wish they'd use better styrene.
Yeah, I think they get their stuff done in India.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, the styrene has got that.
Soft.
Well, it's not super soft. It's malleable. It's
Yeah.
like.
It's a little bit rubbery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tamiya is known for their very hard plastic. I mean, that's the kind of thing,
Yeah.
Compared
Look,
to that, it's quite soft.
if it was more like the Edward plastic or Hasegawa plastic, it'd be great. But look, it's no big deal though. It's just you've got to approach it differently when you're working with it. But the kit I've really enjoyed. Like, we tend to highlight the things we have issues with and make them sound like, oh god, it's the end of the world. But really, that kit's fantastic.
Yeah.
All the glazing goes together so well on the nose. You've got to pay attention to it, and you've got to apply some modelling,
Finesse.
skill.
Yeah, it's a finesse. Yeah.
And plan how you're going to put the thing together.
Yeah.
But apart from that, no, it's fantastic. And I was a real Airfix skeptic for years when I got back into modelling. Because as a kid, that's all I'd made.
Yeah, same here. Same here, yeah. The old 176 scale stuff.
Yeah, and in the plastic bag you get for 25 cents at the milk bar. And I went, no, I'm not going back to that. I'm a grown-up modeller now.
Oh, you're a big boy.
Got me big boy pants on.
Yep. And so for years I was like, Airfix, oh no, I'll find something else to do. But, in the last few years, the kits that they've put out, I think I've built nearly all of the
Recent
their
releases.
releases. And being a Luftwaffe modeller, that's pretty weird because none of them have really been,
No.
So the Hurricane, the
P40.
the P40 last year, which I really enjoyed, the Gloucester Meteor, the Blenheim now. I've got the Seafury. I think it's the only one of their recent releases that I haven't cracked open yet. So
Do you almost sound like an Airfix fanboy there?
it's weird, isn't it?
And have you bought anything at Expo today?
Yeah, I just picked up the ICM Polikarpov U2 kit that's got a lovely set of figures in it. So that's a nice little unusual thing. And the ICM kits get better and better and better all the time.
Yeah,
so,
they're not too bad.
Yeah. They make some really interesting subjects that no other manufacturer touches.
Yep, for sure. I've got a U2 from Garvia, I think, in my stash at home. I think this one will be easier to build.
Oh, yeah. The old Garvia kits.
So
Yeah, they can be a challenge.
yeah, I've seen some nice ones here though at Expo over the years though. So yeah,
So speaking of Expo, what do you think of it this year?
I think it's a big year.
Yeah.
Do we know what the model count was?
It's about
830 plus, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a record.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I
That's
spent
pretty good.
yeah. I
And
spent
the quality of the builds on the table is very nice too.
Yeah, I've really got around about half so far, but yeah, the more time you spend, at the tables, really taking in some of the kits, it's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I normally have to do a few rounds because you miss things sometimes,
Oh,
you know?
yeah, and it's we get to see people here at Expo that Ian and I were saying before, probably once a year we catch up here. So if you're not looking at kits on the table, you're having a big catch up with someone you haven't seen for ages.
Big yarns, and it's great.
What have you got on the table? Why haven't you built this? What have you been up to? So it's the social scene I really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Totally
been
agree.
really interesting for us because we've had quite a few people come up and talking about how much they're enjoying the show. But we've had, one from Queensland, one from Sydney. The amount of people who travel interstate to come down to this show because there's nothing this size anywhere else in Australia?
I've been to most of the shows except Perth around Australia, and I'd agree with that. The size of the show, the atmosphere, the traders, and to catch up with people, and also see new up-and-coming modelers coming to the table. I was standing in the queue this morning to check my kits in and going, I don't know any of the people in the queue.
Wow.
There's all new
Yeah.
people to the show.
Isn't that great?
So, yeah, it was a surprise this morning because after, I think, 25 years I've been coming to Expo, I missed one year. You do get to know all
everyone.
the faces. So yeah, standing in the queue this morning going, I don't know any of these people.
Well, what's really impressed me, I think we've got 3 science fiction / Gundam clubs here,
Wow.
and just all Melbourne based. And I think last year was only 1 Gundam
Yes.
club here, and now there's 3 Gundam / sci-fi clubs here with displays. And I reckon that's just fantastic because you go to model shops now, and Gundams make up nearly 50% of what is being sold in retail shops.
I've been told that. I haven't quite noticed though.
But it just goes to show how popular. I mean,
Yeah.
there's one particular shop I've gone to in Melbourne, and it's Lego's a huge wall just covered in Lego stuff. That shows you how popular that is. The other third of the shop is devoted to Gundam, and and of course, I've forgotten about radio control. That's huge in model shops at the moment in Australia
Yes.
as well. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of special interest groups that weren't there 5 years ago.
yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Sort of outside the mainstream to the military sort of side of stuff.
Yeah, well, I
that
mean,
we
like,
used
there's room for like small groups that are just into Gundams or just into armor modelers or just into the naval stuff.
But the Mecha Club, who will have a guy on later on the show later on to have a chat, but their club's been going since 2002. So they've been around for a while. It's only just decided to put their foot in and come to Expo, which I reckon is absolutely brilliant for the hobby. I
Yep.
really do.
Yep.
I think being at the show, no matter what your chosen subject is, for me, when I got back into modelling, I think the first show I came to was '94. To be able to talk to people at the show and go, "Ooh, how did you do that?"
Yeah.
Or where did you get that from? That really helped me when I was starting out. So I can imagine with special interest clubs that are coming with the science fiction subjects that haven't been seen at the show before, just the chance to talk to other like-minded people,
Yes.
see what they've done, see their techniques. It's what it's all about.
It is, yeah.
It is. Yep.
You'll
Absolutely.
learn so much
Yep.
when you're at one of these events.
Yeah, the cross-pollination.
Yes.
Yep. Just keep your eyes open. Talk to people.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
It all comes down to.
Yep. I don't know how many times I've gone to someone, how did you do that? It's like,
Totally agree.
Cool. Right, Jamie, thanks very much for popping in. Or I should say you actually got dragged in, didn't you, really?
Oh,
You didn't have
yeah.
a choice.
once you get started, it's easy, Dave.
Yeah, it is. Thanks very much for popping in, and we'll see you around later.
Cool. Thanks,
Right.
guys.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Cheers, mate. All right.
Okay, welcome back. And with us we have Chris Hale from Models and Hobbies for You, based in Baronia in Victoria. G'day, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, I'm brilliant, thank you.
Now, you run a traditional bricks and mortar hobby store, the old ones which we all remember from our childhoods.
That's exactly what I do.
And
in
I
fact-
thought it'd be a great idea to get you on and just find out what it's like out there these days.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not sure if I run it or it runs me because I fly solo out there, so it's pretty intensive. But I've been in the game a long time. I started off with Forest Hill Toy World back in 1982.
Cool.
Right back when Forest Hill was all little individual shops with a radio announcer in the middle and the old rocket that all the kids used to love and
Gee, I
climb up and
remember
everything.
that. I remember that. I remember
Yes,
that.
do we ever?
So that's how far back I go.
Yeah.
That was in the days when you'd buy something for $5 and you'd put it on the shelf for $10 and you'd use that $10 to buy 2 more at $5. Well, that's certainly not the case these days.
No. No.
So just to give you an idea of how far back that is, the biggest seller back then was the Commodore 64.
Boy, that is going back.
And there was a queue outside the door the day that they brought out the little tape deck that doubled the memory of the computer back then. So, so they were the hot cake back then.
Yep.
Yeah. So from there, I sort of went into Hearns Hobbies, and I was there for about 15 years or so. And just to prove that I know absolutely nothing about buying a business, I brought Models and Hobbies for you the day the GST came in. So, so that's how good I am.
And how are you surviving these days? Because obviously the traditional mix bricks and mortar shop has been under a lot of pressure with the internet and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but I've dropped into your shop occasionally. And
you're the one.
Yeah,
right.
I'm the one. But you seem to be thriving down there still.
Yeah, we're doing okay for where we are and what we do. Yeah, we're doing all right. I have taken away all the RC stuff that was in the shop. That was the biggest nightmare of all. When Model Engine shut down, they were my biggest RC supplier. So consequently, I've shut that area down now. And every argument and every night's sleep I ever lost over the years was all to do with RC, so I'm glad to be rid of it all.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting because we see a lot of hobby shops moving into RC now.
Yeah. No, it was people buying stuff off the internet and coming in and demanding refunds and repairs on stuff you just, bringing, Volkswagens into Aston Martin dealerships looking for spares. And it was just an absolute nightmare. So, yes, and then my business partner's retired and my only staff member left, and consequently I'm just doing purely plastic stuff now.
Yep.
Keep it all simple and just plodding along quite nicely out there.
That's lovely.
I have that the meet and make on every Saturday morning. That's very popular. I can have 3 full tables of guys and girls and mums and dads and fathers and sons just sitting there making models, just like it used to be.
That's the way it should be, though.
That is,
Yeah, I mean, especially with the internet age, it's good to have the bricks and mortar hobby shop closely working with the community.
Yeah. The other thing I'm trying to introduce behind the scenes is because I'm ex Royal Navy, and there's a couple of guys that work with me. One's currently in the Royal Australian Navy. And the other guy, Bob, I think you're going to interview him later on.
Yep.
He's ex-RAF and spent some time in the Red Arrows and the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. So we tend to support a lot of veterans and whatnot. And I'm trying to get this Models for Heroes set up like they've got in the UK, where they...
We've actually spoken about that on the show.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
So if you get a bit more details to me about that, I'm happy to promote that because I'm a big believer in that.
Right. What it basically is people who've got these big stash of kits they're never ever going to have a hope of building, they donate a few to the shop, and then we take them to the repat hospital, and all the veterans there to build models to take their mind off the old black dock that's hanging around them, give them something else to concentrate on. So.
And it's funny, it's shown that, and I call it model therapy, is shown to have some amazing results.
Yeah.
Just reading about the BBC did a big thing about it, we did an episode on this about a year ago, I think, or less.
And there's a new documentary coming out called Piece by Piece.
Right, okay.
Yes.
That sounds good. It's a good title for it.
Yeah, it is.
Or the Australian version would be Piece by Piece, I'll bugger it, I've dropped it on the floor.
True. Very true.
What's the biggest change you've seen in the last 10 to 15 years within the hobby industry or hobby world, also?
Well, the biggest change has been behind the scenes with a lot of the wholesalers closing their doors. So that's had to change the way things have been done and where I get stuff from, etc., etc. And so that's been the biggest change behind the scenes. In front of the scenes, well, it's certainly true that the kids just totally aren't interested anymore, and if it hasn't got a reset button, they just don't care. It's the same when I go home. The young 13-year-old daughter sitting there on the couch, and she's got the mobile phone in one hand, the iPad in the other, and the television on. And
here we are, the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and she's complaining that the Wi-Fi is slow, you know. So, so it's all gone topsy-turvy.
Has it ever?
Yeah, so it is a bit crazy.
Gundam's been a big change
No, I
coming
don't.
through?
I've never got into the Gundam side
Oh,
of it.
okay.
all.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
that's one
okay.
of the things I don't do. You know,
Yep.
Daryl's got that pretty well covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
you know, we don't want to step on too many other people's toes.
Yep.
In fact, the whole scenario in Baronia was a bit funny because we got 3 hobby shops in a row there. Because we
Yeah.
got myself and we got RC Garage down the road who does all the RC cars. And then you got Branch Line a little bit further down who've been there, 50 odd years or so. They do nothing but trains. So consequently, I don't do Gundams, I don't do the trains, and I don't do the RC either.
So,
That's good because I mean it's important to work with what you know.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
you don't want to have people come into the shop asking you about things that you don't know about. You know.
Yeah.
Totally agree on
Well,
that
I think we're lucky in Melbourne because there must be well over a dozen hobby shops that are sort of still up and running, and some have been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And you see on Facebook now, this shop's closing down overseas or that shop's closing down. So I think we're really blessed out this side of the
We
world.
are, yeah. Totally agree.
Absolutely. All right, well, Chris, thanks very much. I'm
Yeah,
glad
no
you sort of stepped
Good
in
having a
front of the mic and had a bit
no
of a
problems.
chat.
Come into the shop and get a free joke and a free bag with every purchase.
That's what you want. That's what you want, Chris.
The joke might not work, but the bag will.
Yes.
Chris, look, that's wonderful. Again, so I'll just give you a plug so you can go ahead and
Yep.
plug your shop.
Oh, all right. It's Models and Hobbies for you in Baronia. We're right on the intersection of Dorset and Baronia roads. We've got a big propeller spinning in the window. If the propeller's spinning, I'm there. If it's not, I'm not. That's simple.
And we'd love to hear some more about what you're doing for the veterans. So
no worries.
I'll give you my email address and you can
All right.
contact with me and I'll be
All too
more
easy.
than happy to plug that. So
That'd
that's
be
a
great.
really
That we
great
will.
initiative.
All right, then. Thanks,
All right.
gents.
Thanks very
Enjoy
much,
the rest
mate.
of your weekend.
No, you too, Chris.
All right. Nothing else. It was good to sit down for 5 minutes.
So true, mate. Get
Back
the
to
load off
work.
your feet.
Go on, back to work.
Thanks, then.
See you, mate.
Ciao.
Bye.
See you, Chris.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Alan Shaw from SMSV, which stands for Ship Modeler Society Victoria. And these guys mainly deal with wooden ships. Is that correct,
That's
Al?
correct, yeah, period ships. Or
Period ships, is that the right term?
It's the right term, something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
I've got to say, I've always had an admiration for period ships because they're all made of wood and they just look absolutely awesome. But what scares the heck out of me is all that rigging
It's
that
the
you guys
rigging,
put on there.
It scares most people away from them, actually. Yeah.
Yes. Although the only saving grace is the rigging's not in 1/350 scale, which is what I'm used to working in on my plastic ships.
Yeah, well, this is in, most of them in 192 or 148
Yep.
scale. So it's,
Decent size. Decent size, that is.
It's manageable sizes. Not too big, not too small, and it's things you can put on your fridge or your mantelpiece at home if you've got one, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So let's start right from the beginning. Whereabouts do you go to purchase a kit like this?
The place is called Modeler Shipwright in Sydney. They have them. Floater Boat in Melbourne. Turnier, I think they're in.
And some of the manufacturers?
I've never actually got them through. I just bought them off the people that sell them.
Is it Amati, I think it's called one? Is one?
I know Amati does some.
Amati does something.
Martha, yeah.
Yeah.
That's That's one of the crowds.
I remember years ago there was Billings boats.
Come again?
Billings boats.
Billings boats.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, they were a Swedish company, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And they're still in operation too, I believe.
All right.
Yeah,
Yep. I just find the craftsmanship that you guys put in is just phenomenal.
A lot of them are actually heavily modified because the kits are sort of not quite right, and so you get the books or detailed books on them, and you just modify them to suit, and work at all the rigging drawings or everything's there. You just buy what you need as extras or whatever, and it's history. Once it's finished, it's finished. You know?
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I find daunting too is perhaps the planking that's required to go on them, and you get the different shapes bent around the whole of the planking. How do you go about doing that?
The planking is usually a bit of warm water around a former, and you just pin them in, and then when they're dry, just sand them down and make them match up and glue them together.
That simple.
Simple as that.
There you go, Dave. You learn something new.
Then you do one on top, then you do the next one and the next one. Yeah. And you taper each end to suit the curvature of the hulls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Until they meet evenly at the front and the backs, and it all looks nice and uniform. And until you get the top, and that gives you the gunnels, the main lines and the gunnel lines, and it's quite an interesting hobby once you get involved with it.
Now, I know this question is going to be like asking how long is a piece of string, but on average, how long would a kit take to complete?
Depends what you put into it, but on average for myself, it's 15 months to 3 years.
Wow.
Wow. Now there's dedication.
And Ian was crying about his Shikaku that he built. Took him 9 months.
Yeah, only took me 9 months.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, no, it depends what product you want at the end of it. If you want something that's reasonable and looks nice, you put the time into it. And, it's up to yourself, really.
What material are the guns made out of?
Basically, the guns are mainly brass, and you paint them to suit or darken them down to whatever you want. Or you just leave them as brass. And with wooden, or blacken them off, or paint them red or yellow, whatever shape they come off.
Yes.
And for those who looking at the kits, that the rigging may scare them, you don't have to actually have the rigging on the ship, do you? You can just do the ship with just the mast and not have any rigging at all on it?
You can do that, but it sort of spoils the whole effect of
especially
what you're actually trying to achieve at the end of the day.
Yeah, I understand that. You can take little baby steps if you're in need to.
Yeah, well, that's right, what do you say? Rigging is part of that's how I got into it for a start, because I thought, well, this is not going to beat me. I'm going to get on top of this rigging because it just looks so complicated. But it's actually quite a simple stage by stage, mast by mast set up.
And you can buy all the pulleys and that anyway.
You can buy it, and everything's...
It's all the dead eyes, all the pulleys.
Everything's on the kits and everything.
Yeah.
And
so if you know how to thread a needle, you should be right.
It's pretty much, That's when it comes to sales. You can do the same work on that. Your girlfriend to do that, or your wife, or whatever. That could be fun. Yeah.
Now the actual rigging, what is it? Just a string that you use, or a particular type of string?
I use polyester cotton. Right. Polyester, sewing thread.
Yes.
And you twist it up in a machine to make what they call ropes, or hawser ropes, and just normal twisted, left-hand lays or right-hand lay ropes, and then you just rig them out to suit on the boat, whichever is appropriate to the rope.
That makes sense.
What about knots?
Knots.
Is there any sort of
lashings? Yeah.
Lashings. Learn your terminology there.
For the layman who doesn't know the intricacies and terminology, and
sometimes Julian needs good lashing.
Right. Just doing the whole thing together.
I mean, is there anything they need to know with regards to that? I mean,
if you can just wrap a bit of string around or two folded piece of string around a dead eye, and what you call lash it off, make a loop at one end, just twirl it around and feed it through one end and pull two ends together. That's your lashing.
Okay.
Like if you're going fishing, if anyone knows how to put a fish hook on, you're right.
Well, it's even fishing knots do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, someone doesn't know much about ships in general, much less your specific type of ship. I would have thought, is there going to be any kind of nautical knots and all that sort of thing?
You can buy books on most of the stuff, and all the knots are in what they call knot books. And
if you're a good Boy Scout, you'd know it all anyway.
Well, that's it. You're right. I went to Boy Scout myself.
Not many of my generation didn't.
Not nowadays. Not like us.
It's pretty well dead, isn't it? Yeah.
The actual finish of the hull, once you've done it, is it generally lacquered, or do you paint it?
I use what they call dope. You lacquer it you dope the whole woods for a start. That seals it all off, and then you put a lacquer over the top of that, or varnish, to suit what you want. You get the gloss or semi-gloss. Mainly semi-gloss is the usual one, but because it'll usually come up as a slightly polished group at the end of the day anyway. So
right.
Yeah. So that's about it.
What about the ships with copper hulls? Do you have to?
Yeah, you can do fun and games with those. Pair of scissors and a super glue and a couple of files, and you're right.
Yeah, off you
just
go.
Cut them off the seat, and you got to polish the back of them before you put the glue on them, and then once you put it on, keep your fingers away because you stick there as well.
Exactly.
How much do these kits weigh when they're done?
They'll only weigh about half a kilo, if that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have thought
Yeah,
there'd be more
you
because
can
you
just
know
pick
you
them up
got
in your hand,
all those brass guns and
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah, it's
I would
only
have thought
about
it'd weigh
maybe
quite
half
a
a
bit.
kilo lucky. Yeah, easy.
That's all right.
Depends on the size, of course, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah. But if they're real big ones, I say 3-footers, 196 or something like that, you're looking at a couple of kilos or something. Yeah, yeah.
So do you get much commission work?
Not really.
No?
It's all love game.
Just for your own self.
Yeah, it's just
your
a
own
straight
hobby.
love game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah. It's a kid, something to do on the weekends when you're not doing anything. You know?
Keep
you
you out
out
of
of
wife's hair.
That's right. Yeah.
One of the biggest enemies, I think, with any model kits, but I think especially with the ones that you guys do, is dust, because dust really shows up in the
Yeah,
rigging.
it does. Yeah, that's the worst part of the rigging is a lot of cotton stuff will actually attract the dust.
Yeah.
And polyesters won't attract it as much. And I use a hairdryer with a paintbrush, so wide bristle paintbrush.
Yep.
And just put the hairdryer onto it in the cold position, not the hot position.
Yep.
And blow it off and just wipe it down with the paintbrush and it
Oh,
keeps
yeah.
it away.
Oh,
or
okay.
you
Good idea.
go to the expense, or quite a big expense, of
Get a
putting a big
casemate.
case over it. Yeah, there's a lot of people do that, which is but the more practical way to do it.
Yeah.
But
So-
if you're doing public shows like we do, it's not much point in putting them in a box because they're in and out of the box every 6 months or so, and you're different places and different
Yep.
locations. So it's just easier just to leave them on the shelf and drop them in the car and then drop them off again when you
Yeah.
get home. Yeah.
So most of the models that you guys build cover the age of sail. Do you get kits that go way back to, say, the Vikings or the Greek?
Some of the members have done that. Yeah,
Yep.
but most of them stick with bounties and endeavours and
Victory and
victories,
USS
all that
Constitution, all that sort of
That
stuff.
sort of stuff, yeah.
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 Simple stuff, it's everything's run-of-the-mill stuff sort of thing.
I could be tempted to one of those cutaways where you just see a slice of the ship.
Yeah.
And is that what it's called, a cutaway?
Yeah, it's just it's like a diorama type thing. You can just see what's inside,
Yes.
how they were all made, and
Yeah.
what the workings on, where they stored everything,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
when I-
where all the cannonballs were, and et cetera, et cetera. You know,
Yeah.
it's,
And all the ballast. I remember
Also
years and
called
years
ballast,
ago when I was a young fella, I bought one of those as the Victory, HMS Victory.
In plastic or wood?
No, I would.
Oh, okay.
But I was way too young and I mucked it up, and it's long gone now. But something that today, I'd definitely be able to tackle it.
Yeah.
But back then, I was just way too ambitious for a young fella that I was back then. But
Yeah.
that was nearly a metre tall.
Yeah. Stands pretty tall.
Yeah, and it was just like the centre section with the centre
Yes.
mast. Absolutely beautiful.
I think there's one for the Victory, one for the Constitution that I've seen. I'm trying to think of the other ones. But that'd attract me.
Yeah, and also if you're not pushed on if you're pushed on space, something like that would be work even better.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a good thought. Never thought of that. Except height's an issue.
Yeah, height can be an issue.
Well, you can always knock a hole in the ceiling.
Take it out altogether.
Yeah, there you go. You don't need a ceiling.
Alan, is there any recommended starter kits, or would you say just dive in and just choose one and go for it?
Depends on your age, of course. If a young person, start off with a small kit, like a little wee yacht thing, just work up from that, and skills go with the size of the boat.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you end up doing victories and bounties and all that sort of stuff. So
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty good. Or Titanics if you're into that stuff.
Have you ever seen anyone do figures on their ships? At all?
That carving and stuff.
Like people, on
You can
on
put
deck.
them on, but it spoils the whole look of the thing.
Oh, does it?
To my point of view, anyway.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I agree with you, Alan.
It's what they call builder's choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. 100% I
You
agree.
either do
Yeah.
or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's builder's choice.
Yep.
Alan, it's been great to have you on the
Yes.
show. So SMSV, do you have a website?
I do believe we have. Yeah.
Right, so
No, I don't think what it is.
so I guess if you Google Ship Model Society Victoria,
Yeah, the Lorimer Street. They're meeting every Wednesday of the first Wednesday of the month of every month, except
and are
January.
you
January,
aware?
sorry.
Are you aware of any other similar clubs worldwide?
Oh, that's not really, not at this stage. No.
Okay.
There probably is, but not.
Yep.
Not the way. Yeah, in Sydney there is. There's different ones all over the country, but
Yep.
that's the only one I know in Melbourne that does what we do. Yeah.
All right, no worries. Alan, it's been great to have you in the show. Thanks very much for educating us in
The
It's
fine
really-
art of model shipwriting.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right, thanks, mate. And we've now got Bob Stevens with us, who mainly builds Cold War RAF aircraft.
That's
but we grabbed you, Bob, because you've got a bit of an interesting backstory, haven't you?
Yes.
Go on, tell us about it.
No, I was in the Royal Air Force for 26 years.
Yep.
And I was medical discharged in 2012 due to an incident that happened when I was in Iraq in 2006. I was in a Land Rover in a convoy, and we were basically went past they call it a VBID, Vehicle Borne IED, and we went past this car that exploded, and the car was disabled. We got into a firefight, and as we were getting dragged out the vehicle, I got stuck on the weapons rack, and they just cut me loose and dragged me out because we were under fire, and as a consequence I smashed my pelvis on the door frame getting out.
Jeez, that's a pretty serious injury.
And just thought I'd injured my back, but as it turned out I had hairline fractures in both hips, and as a consequence I've now got 2 metal hips and a metal shoulder.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I've had 2 hip replacements, and my shoulder's got metal in it as well. So.
Well, it must be interesting when you go through a metal detector for an aircraft to go on an aircraft.
It's a bit, yeah. I tend to get bypassed, but fast track, but yeah, I still have to tell them because it gets a bit interesting when they see it on the machine.
Yeah. So what did you do in the RAF?
I was logistics driver, so I was a senior NCO, so I was in charge of convoys, resupply, aircraft replenishment, refueling, towing, anything to do with the aircraft that involved replenishing the aircraft,
Yep.
servicing the aircraft, and then when we're off base, we tend to do convoy commander, packet commander, which is part of the convoy. So you're in charge of the whole convoy or just your little sort of 4 or 5 vehicle packet, taking supplies all around Iraq. When I was in Afghanistan, I was based in Oman, but we flew into Afghanistan and we did sort of lived on the ground for sort of 7 to 10 days, and then flew back again. We sort of doing reconnaissance. But my career's been varied. I was in the Red Arrows for 4.5 years.
Oh, okay.
I was on the ground crew there from 1994. I was on the Harriers in Germany for 4 years. I was at the Treble TE, the Tornadoes, the training school.
Yes.
Then I was on Battle of Britain flight for a while. I've been detached to British Aerospace before, on the Typhoon project before it came into service.
Wow.
So the Battle of Britain flight, did you enjoy that that rotation?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was nice. You were part of the station. You just went away. You sort of went away at the weekends and when they needed you. Well, that was lovely. Got some lovely pics.
A few joy flights in the Lancaster.
Oh yeah. I used to love. I got a beautiful photograph. I'm sat in the navigation bubble.
Yeah.
I'm looking back down the spine, and you've got the 2 fins, and on the left is a Spitfire, and on the right is a Hurricane. And I've got some beautiful pics. I used to turn down fast jet flights just to fly in the Lang. I used to love flying the Lang.
Oh, why wouldn't you? I mean,
exactly.
We used to fly the Dakota to and from displays. That was the transport aircraft.
Yeah.
Plus, it was part of the display as well. And then if you were sort of on the advanced party or the rear party, you just chucked yourself in the hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I used to. When I used to be in the Air Force, cadets flew in the Dakotas or the C-47s that the Royal Australian Air Force had back then. And when I was in the Army, I had a hell of a trip from Victoria to Queensland in the Hercules once. Not a recommended way to fly long distance, that's for sure.
No, I used to fly from the UK to Cyprus every year for what's called Operation Springhawk, which is like the combination of the training. And we used to do it in a Herc. Oh, that was horrendous. We went so bad because I was a loadie, so class as loadie, so we could walk around and we could put hammocks up.
Yeah.
But the rest of the people, it's just horrendous.
Yeah, and that damn toilet right at the back.
Oh, at the back in the tube,
Yeah, it's a little curtain around it. Not much from privacy.
No, not at all. It's just noisy. So noisy.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, flying to Hercules with a hangover is even the worst thing to do. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, the best flight I've ever had was one of my claim to fame is I've been both to the North Pole and South Pole.
Oh, okay.
And,
Wow.
When I was in the Falklands, we did a resupply to Sandwich, and we flew over the pole and flying about 5 feet over the ice pack with your legs dangling over the back of the ramp, watching the seals scum away and the penguins.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What would have been?
It is amazing.
Fantastic memories.
Yeah, oh yeah. I did 26 years in total before I was discharged.
Yeah. That's a long service too.
Yeah, it was. I went away quite a lot. I did Northern Ireland, did Bosnia, Kosovo, we were in Kenya for a bit, we've been up Norway and Falklands and obviously the Middle East and most places.
Been everywhere, man.
Yeah.
So your model building, you're mainly Cold War era RAF stuff?
Yeah, mainly stuff I've been involved with.
Yep.
So even vintage, obviously the Battle of Britain flight, but because I was on the Red Arrows, we were quite heavily involved with the other display teams at the time in the 90s. Because they used to use us, the ground crew, because we had 60 personnel used to go away at a time. So we used to support the other RAF display teams as well. So the Vulcan, Vintage Pair, the Battle of Britain as well. So
the Red Arrows this year are flying in North America for the whole summer season,
they
I
left
believe.
about 2 weeks ago, I think they flew over.
Yeah.
Well, I nearly made it when I was in the Reds, but we had a refueling stop at Reykjavik in Iceland. And we were in the Comet. We had the Comet from Boscombe Down to use as a transport, as well as the Hurricane and some other bits. But we never left Reykjavik. We broke down.
Oh,
So I never made it. Never made it. We were there for about 3 weeks. In the end.
Hell of a place to break down.
Beer's expensive.
and not much to see.
Well, there's a lot to see.
All right.
And a lot to do there. It's just
Yeah.
bloody expensive.
So what's your favourite Cold War era aircraft that you like to model?
It's got to be the Lightning. Without a doubt, the Lightning.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
A real-
Riding a bullet.
Oh, yeah. I used to work on them as well, doing refueling and stuff like that. But, yeah, it was amazing aircraft. And I think it was still the fastest aircraft till the Typhoon came into service.
All right.
That's amazing. Amazing aircraft. In fact, there's a lot of bits off the Lightning and the TSI-2, believe it or not, that were incorporated into the Typhoon. It's a little bit like the seat reclining. They used the Lightning mechanism from that for the Typhoon seat to recline, and there's other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tornado, one of your favourite ones also, or not?
Yeah, they were quite new when I was working on them, because that was it was like '87. I was on the Tornadoes at Treble T at Cottesmore. And people didn't really like them then because they were new. They missed the Phantom, but now everybody misses the Tornado because
they've just been phased out of service now. The Tornadoes.
It was very rugged, very adaptable aircraft.
Yeah. Although they lost a few in Iraq in the early parts of the war.
Yeah, because they love flying and the obviously ground fire. But that's what the RAF do. They fly low.
And low and fast.
Low and fast, yeah. Get under the radar.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned the Harriers as well, so...
Yeah, I was on 3 and 4 Squadron in Germany for 4 years. Yeah, I was there until Germany closed. I was at RAF Larbrook, and the Harriers moved to Cottesmore, and I went to a military hospital. I was in charge of logistics there, but... Yeah, I did 4.5 years in Germany with the Harriers. That was really good. Go to work on a Monday, phone the wife up and say, "You're not home for tea?" And she asks why, and he said, "I'm in Norway. See you on Saturday." It was literally like that some days. You go to work and you just fly off somewhere.
Yeah, you wouldn't know from day to day where you're going to be.
Too true.
Fantastic. Which particular kits would you recommend if somebody's sort of looking at Cold War era RAF? Is it Airfix or is there another brand that you prefer to sort of build with?
If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I'd probably have said Trumpeter or Tamiya, but Airfix now have come along, especially the new molds. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Even like I built, I was given as a present a 172nd Typhoon, and even that had wing panels that opened up to expose the cannons, and the details amazing. So, the Airfix have come a long way.
Oh, I have.
Yep. They're still persevering with that very soft plastic though, which people either love or hate though.
Yeah, it's good for gluing though. I mean, it does make gluing quick, and I don't tend to have an issue with it really. But no, I've got 3 kits in today, and they're all Airfix, albeit one of them is from 1969. But that's the Belvedere, but the other 2 are the new mods. Really good kits. Yeah,
and just the crispness of the kits now that they're developing is fantastic. I picked up their Royal Navy Phantom kit that they released.
That's amazing.
It's a lot. Well,
you didn't know what to do. There's that many variants you can do with it.
Well, it's not just that, it's a decal sheet that I'm looking at and going, oh my God, in 1/32 scale, I don't think I want to do that.
The Phantom's always had lots of bits and pieces.
Lots of those nose step decals.
Yeah.
I've got a good idea, because I've bought that, and I'm going to put a magnet on the nose, so I can have the radar in and out, and then I just put the nose on with a magnet or have it on the side with a magnet.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because there's that many variants you can do with it. And it's a shame to hide it.
Yeah, the other thing I like about Airfix is the new way they do their instructions.
Oh, the AutoCAD, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so easy to follow.
Yeah.
And like everything that's red is already what you've worked on.
Yeah.
Which I find really good. Like I've recently purchased the Sea Fury and the Walrus, and I've got to say, hands down, they are absolutely magnificent
really
looking
beautiful.
kits.
Yeah. Really good.
Totally agree.
I like as well the especially 148 kits. They give you 2 ejection seats.
Yep.
So one with and one without straps. So you can either buy your own and put your own on, or do what they've got. I do know that they've changed from making them in China to India. So
yes, that's right. Yeah, they're all injected in India now.
Yeah, so that might make a reason. I know there's issues with China doing bits and pieces with the moulds, and so I think that's why they've got a lot better. And they're under new management as well.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, there's a TV program out called James Mays hosts it.
I haven't seen that yet.
I've got it. I downloaded it. It's Big Trouble in Model Britain.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's only a 2-parter, but it explains what happened and what's happening now. It's really good, and it covers Hornby and Airfix and Skeletric and everything like that. Yeah.
I've been keeping my eye out on all the different TV programs like Netflix and all that, but I still haven't come across it yet. So
no, it's on BBC, so it'll never be on there. You'll have to try and sort of download it or wait for it to come on Foxtel or something.
Yeah, I might well do that.
Yes, definitely.
Bob, it's been fantastic having on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for dropping in.
Yep.
And thank you very much for your 26 plus years of service.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Well done.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bob.
Next on the show, we have Roy Hakem. You happy with that one, Roy?
Yes.
From Southern Cross Miniatures. G'day, Roy. Welcome to the show.
How are you guys?
Always good to have you on, mate.
Thanks, guys.
So you have your own model company, don't you, Roy?
Yes, I manufacture model kits, and I also have an internet business, which will be hopefully released in about 2 weeks to a month.
Fantastic. So what's the model kit you got?
I've got 7 model kits, 6 1/43rd scale resin multimedia, and all from the 1950s, 1960s Le Mans.
Oh, lovely.
And my first 1/20th scale kit, multimedia again, injection molded body with resin and photo etched and real rubber tyres, the Mercedes W125.
Which is an absolutely stunning kit.
Thank you.
So nice built up.
It is a lovely model. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, I bet you are. I would be too. So you've been in the car game for a long while, Roy.
Yes.
So what pushed you into actually producing your own kits?
Well, I'm an automotive engineer by profession, and we all got retrenched from General Motors Holdens, and I've become a builder now. But I decided I enjoyed designing cars that much, so I thought I'll do my own range of model kits. So that's how I
just can't get normally on the market.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So and now you got your own store, so you may as well give that a plug.
Yeah, I've got a stall at Market 3196, and that's at Chelsea Heights on Wells Road. I think it's 278 Wells Road. You can't miss it. It's open 7 days a week, except for public holidays, and it's a little stall, just selling model kits. But eventually, if it goes well, I'll hopefully have a bigger stall, and if it really does well, I'll probably have a little outlet, a proper, not a shop, but a warehouse.
Oh.
Because being a builder and all that, I need a warehouse for materials and stock and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
building.
Yeah.
And I could convert it, half of it as a warehouse, and or not half, but 3/4, and a little corner just selling model kits and all that kind of stuff.
So, Roy, how difficult is it to start up doing your own sort of line of kits and stuff like that?
It wasn't difficult. It was very financially difficult. It costs a fair bit of money.
What doesn't cost a lot of money these days?
Yes, yes. Being an automotive engineer and involved in tooling and production and all that, I already had a good understanding of how things work. My main, not rival, I could call it, what's a model factory hero?
Yep.
Yep.
Competitor.
Competitor, but he's way ahead of me in stock. But he was my sort of idol. But being an engineer myself, personally, I think my product for my first kit, the 120th scale kit, rings around Model Factory Hero, because I've built many Model Factory Hero kits, fantastic kits, but the engineering side is nowhere near as good as mine.
As refined.
Yes. Just because I am experienced in real production car tooling and design and management.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold in regards to some future kits? Have you got anything sort of planned on the drawing boards?
Yes, I've got a CAD already done for the Auto Union.
Oh.
Yes. And I'd like to do more Mercedes from that era, but I've got to wait till I get my return back from my first kit.
Oh, of course,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yep, absolutely.
That to me is like that era. What was it, the 20s, early 30s?
No. Mid to late 30s.
Mid to late 30s.
Yes.
Those Auto Union cars were just incredible. They're like bullets.
Spectacular machines, they are. I was at Goodwood a few years ago and I saw one started up, and my whole body was vibrating and the ground was vibrating just from the sound of the engine. It was unbelievable. But I love it.
So any chance of seeing a future release of the Beast of Turin?
Which one?
The big Fiat. Oh, he's thinking now. That's a monster of a car.
Yes. I have got plans for a lot of kits, but again, it's all depending on finance.
Well, if you do a Mercedes, what about the Blitz and Benz?
Nah.
Too big, too loud.
Yeah, too loud. Yeah.
And where are you going to get a big Junkers motor for a car?
Yes. Yes. The hardest part of the whole project was the research.
Oh, yeah.
I kept the model as raced.
Mm-hmm.
I've already explained to many people not to paint their models in gloss silver, but they do, because that's how they think it is. But the real car was just aluminium, not even painted, to save weight. And,
Just polished aluminium.
Not even
polished
that.
aluminium. That's all they were.
Yep.
They were rough as guts. But yeah, the main difficulty, as I said, was the research. The only thing I could not get was the fuel tank. So I had to just not have a fuel tank in the kit, but you cannot see it anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
yep.
Yeah. But
Makes sense.
there's no photos, there's nothing available anywhere in the world except for the museum at Stuttgart, and they aren't going to pull apart the car to show me what the fuel tank's looking like. Unfortunately, I don't have a license by Mercedes because it was just economically way over the top in price. So the box hasn't even got Mercedes on it anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never thought of the aspect of it, the
yeah.
licensing
Yeah.
side of things.
It was a fortune.
Yeah.
So
I think the worst company to deal with that is Ford.
Ford and Ferrari. Ferrari actually wanted 350,000 euros every 2 years just to stick a name on the box.
You're kidding me.
No, ridiculous. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Mercedes agreed with me in the start to have a 20% licensing as I sold every model, or
Yep.
once a month I had to do a report to them.
Yep.
How many models I've sold, and I just pay the licensing. But the guy apparently resigned, and the new guy said, no, we want the money up front, and it will be approximately 120 to 150,000 euros, which I said, no, forget it. Couldn't do it. No one would buy the kit.
Yeah. And to me, I find that really, for these manufacturers, ridiculous, because what you're doing is you're helping promote their vehicle.
Correct.
So you think, oh yeah, well, the little kid sees that kit, and when he grows up and is old enough to have a license,
Yeah.
he's going to buy that model car. Not the exact model that he's built, but he's going to buy a
Make
Mercedes.
your fan base young, and
Yeah.
so that when they grow up and are able to purchase vehicles, they'll become a loyal customer.
Correct.
110% agree with that, but they don't see it like that.
No, they just see the dollar signs.
They see the dollar sign. You're using our name to promote the car, but what do you do?
Yep.
I'm a Ferrari fanatic myself. I own a real Ferrari. I wear Ferrari gear, as I am today.
You're a tragic.
Yes. And I don't get 1 cent for wearing my Ferrari jackets, but
See, isn't that interesting? Because you're walking around with all your Ferrari badge stuff. Technically, you're walking billboards. You should be charging them for the advertising.
I know, but that will never happen.
But here's a real interesting one, because
Yep.
Roy's actually sitting next to me as we're speaking.
Yep.
Roy's Ferrari.
Yep.
I'm Shelby.
Yes.
And we've still managed to stay good friends all these years.
Well, I love all cars. I'm a Formula One fanatic and a GT Motorsports fanatic, and for me, all cars are beautiful,
Yep.
fantastic
Totally
machines.
agree, yep.
All drivers who drive them, I respect all of them. My favourite driver is, at the moment, Vettel, because he drives for Ferrari, but I respect Hamilton. I hang it on him, but still I respect him, and so with all the other drivers. But that's just me.
Well, actually, and you just plugged my memory, because there's a movie coming out soon about
November.
Shelby.
Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hanging out for that film. Can't wait.
Well, it's got a big cast. It's got
Matt Damon as
and
Carroll Shelby.
Christian
Bale.
Bale.
He'll be
Bale,
playing
yes.
Ken Miles.
So it looks like a good movie. So I've
Yes,
seen the
it's going
shorts.
to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
well, let's just say it had better be brilliant.
Yes. I'm just hoping they don't bag it on Ferrari as they always do with Americans.
Oh, yes, well, yeah, it's Hollywood.
Because the real reality of why Ferrari did what he did is because Ferrari was going to look for partnership with Ford, and when Ford turned up, they agreed and everything, but then when all the paperwork got done, apparently from what they say, Ford wanted a bigger margin of the profits and all that, and Ferrari basically told them to stick it.
Yep. Thus the war began.
That's correct.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see if they actually have that in the movie then, won't it?
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, Roy. Well, thanks very
Yes.
much for popping on the show.
Been
Thank
great
you.
having you on, mate.
Now, before you go, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that to get a hold of one of your kits, or indeed even have a look at one of your kits? And
At the moment, Facebook would be the easiest way. Get on to Southern Cross Miniatures on Facebook.
Yep.
I have got a website at the moment, but I'm transferring everything over to my new website, which if you go onto Facebook, we'll have the name, because I cannot remember the name offhand. It's a new domain name. It's and it's incorporating my retail side, and the retail side will actually be with a blog in there, so modelers can actually be involved and contribute thoughts and images of their models. Any model will do. It doesn't have to be my product, but yeah. So I want it to be more as a club.
oh, terrific! All
Sounds
right,
great.
Roy. Thanks very much
Thank
for
you.
being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
And hello, and we've got one of our on the bench listeners, Paul, with us, who's come all the way down from Queensland for Expo. G'day, Paul.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Great.
You've been rather successful at this show too.
Yeah, I bought 3 down and got 3 firsts. So
3 firsts?
Wow.
Yes,
Well done.
What were they all? What categories?
they're all 72nd.
Yep.
All RAAF.
Yeah.
1 modified and 2 out of the box.
Fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, thanks Ian. Thank you.
Great. That's great.
So tell us about the modified P40 that you did.
Yeah, so
And I've got to get a photo later on and put it on Facebook. It's awesome.
It is just insane to look at this.
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's one of those things that growing up, I always saw pictures of this aircraft and always wanted to build a model of it. It's a plane that was flown by 75 Squadron RAAF,
Yep.
and it collided with another P-40 over the target while attacking a Japanese target in the Pacific. And as a result of the collision, about 25% of its port wing got blown up, and the pilot flew home 200 miles with this heavily destroyed wing.
Wow.
So there's a lot of photos of it in the War Memorial and a lot of the RAAF books. So I always wanted to build it, but never kind of had the the right kit or the right skills or the right patience to do it. So so that was the one that was modified. So I've damaged the wing, and during the incident, I believe the perspex behind the canopy got blown out somehow. I don't know how, but it just left a frame. So I had to learn a couple of new modelling skills to actually do that.
You actually had to learn how to make photo etch.
Yeah. So
that's pretty impressive.
No, thanks. Yeah, so photo etch definitely is my friend.
See, I've got a convert.
It's there was no other way of doing it. It's too fine. And to get the detail in 70-second scale, I had to do it. So, it took me 23 goes to get it right.
Wow, you are very, very stubborn, because I reckon after about go 3, I would have binned the whole project.
Well, that's you, Dave. No commitment.
I think the stubbornness was probably over about 6 or 7 months, because a couple of times things got thrown at the wall, and the acid wasn't always being used for the right purpose. But
I see.
But I got 6 out of the 23, which I thought were acceptable. And one of my friends, Phil, builds P40s, so he'll get a couple of them as well, and the decals. So basically everything that I've got that's left over, hopefully we'll go on to make a couple of other Svengalis, which was the name of the P40 on the nose art.
So how do you go about actually doing your own photo etch?
So you've got to start with the design, which I just did on the computer, and then you make a master and you put that onto clear transparency. Then what you do is you take the brass and you can get a photo, it's like a lacquer that goes on that you spray on.
Yeah.
It's a positive photo lacquer. So then you put the master on the clear transparency over it, expose it to UV light, and then develop it like a photo. And what that does is that leaves, protects the brass.
A protective
in some areas.
coating,
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do is you put it in the acid. My learning is if you leave it in the sun, it takes about 30 minutes. If you don't, it takes about 2 hours. Eventually it just erodes away the exposed areas, and you're left with the shape. So the first one that I did, I left all of this blank space between the canopy frame, and the last one I did had every little space filled in so that the acid was only just etching really fine lines, and it wasn't like using up the acid, just eroding away all the brass that was unnecessary anyway.
Yep.
So you'll learn a lot by doing it, and but after 23 attempts, you will learn a lot.
Totally agree.
Is it expensive to go down that route to do it yourself?
It's actually not that expensive. Most of the supplies you can get from electrical suppliers for people who photo etch their own circuit boards.
Right, okay.
And then I had a UV party light that I got from Bunnings, which wasn't exposing the lacquer very well. But I found that if you get onto eBay, you can get it's like a little box that has UV lamps for curing fingernails, for painted fingernails, for $14.
Oh,
and it
nice
works
and
absolutely brilliantly. So,
there you go.
Yeah, and that was one of the other things that I learnt too, is you had to have a proper UV light to get the right
do the
exposure.
job,
So, lots of learnings.
So what were the other 2 kits?
So I did a Mirage, an RFF Mirage,
Right, yep.
which had one of the experimental camouflage schemes.
Oh, I see.
But what they did is they replaced the wings, so this has like 2 schemes on it.
That's
and
interesting.
then I did a Hurricane as well from the new Armour Hobby kit, which is absolutely fantastic. But all of the models that I build are either RAAF or Fleet Air Arm, and I try to kind of build them into a bit of the context of what they were doing at the time.
Yep.
And this Hurricane, after it flew in the Australian Air Force, got left down at Point Cook out in the open for about 5 or 6 years until a farmer bought it for spare parts. So I've tried to kind of capture this derelict poor old Hurricane that just, basically probably fell apart the minute that they towed it away.
Yeah,
so,
it just rotted away.
So I've tried to capture that. with it as well.
Marvellous.
Now, you're actually from Queensland, so you drove all the way down here for this show.
So for international listeners, how many kilometres did you drive?
Was 1,900 k's down.
There you go. Now there's dedication.
It was worth it because I got to make a few stops on the way. I stopped at Williamstown, saw an F-35 fly, which I hadn't seen before.
And that's the home of the Australian Fighter Base.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Yeah, and I'll probably go to a few museums on the way back as well. So a little bit of a road trip.
Oh, sounds great.
Why not? Why not? And you got no model clubs that you can go to up in Queensland?
Oh, I can, but they're a fair drive away, and with life and family pressures and everything. I would rather actually sit in my studio and model and listen to you guys. So
there you go.
so
we are useful for something.
We're a virtual model club for all those people who can't join one.
Yeah, you're like the flying doctors on the airways, but for modelers. I keep joking, actually, that coming from the Gold Coast, this is like schoolies for modelers. So
that's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah, totally agree on that one.
That's very funny. Oh, well, glad you had a great time, Paul, and I really congratulate you on your wins.
Yeah,
especially that P40. That's just stunning.
Well deserved.
And
Thank
I'll
you.
definitely get a picture of that and put it up on Facebook.
Yep.
So
and the other two too, I think.
Yeah, but the P40, the work in that's just gorgeous.
Well, they're all first place.
Yeah.
Well, in the judge's mind, but I reckon the P40 is just miles ahead of the other two.
Okay. Have you seen the other two yet?
I have.
Okay.
I think just the P40 is just gorgeous.
Okay.
Just the way he's replicated the damage in the aircraft.
I've seen it myself. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, Paul. I'm going to crack at you. I just reckon your P40 is just the bee's knees.
Nah, thank you.
Done a great job.
I guess on behalf of everyone out there who listens to you guys are fantastic. It actually makes such a difference to a lot of us modelers that are out in the wilderness a little bit. And, just to be able to have access to people talking about models, and you guys cost me a fortune because every time you recommend something, I look it up and go and get the last. I've got to ask you, Julian, about your photo etch bending tool, but that'll cost me some more money. So it's great to have this. It's a really, really good thing for me especially, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who benefit from it as well.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Paul.
No,
cheers,
excellent.
mate. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we're back, and we've got Scott from SMS, the Scale Model Supplies. And SMS do high-quality scale model paints, consumables, and your lacquer paints are absolutely legendary, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no, I've actually used them, and they're absolutely brilliant. They do go down really well. Nice thin coats. You don't have to thin it before you spray it. And it's really good stuff. So what do you guys got in the pipeline coming up into the future?
Lots of stuff. We're working at the moment. We're working through a lot of pearl colours. So a lot of the car guys got pretty excited over the car of these new pearls. But we're starting to branch more back into military and aircraft again.
Yep.
We did late last year. We started doing a lot of modern Russian stuff. Just done a few Soviet armour colours. So we're going to move towards German World War II and Luftwaffe.
Oh, excellent.
Those sorts of colours. So the colours that everyone wants.
Yes, absolutely.
We've been doing this for about 3 years now. We've got 160 plus colours in our range, and we still haven't got near the German colours. So,
wow,
you got a bit of work to do then, Scott.
So it's going to expand pretty quickly soon. So, yeah.
What I really like about some of the stuff you do is you put them out in boxes of 4. So you'll look at like RAF colour, early World War II.
Yep.
IJN, World War II colours, that type of stuff. Is that something you're going to be continuing on into the future?
Yes. Yeah. Anytime we can work out a set that makes things easier for our customers, we'll put it together as a set, because it's a lot easier if people go, they'll go through our range and pick out one colour. It's a lot easier just to go grab the set.
It is, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So that was the whole point of making these sets, is to make it as easy as possible for everyone. That's the whole point of our product range, is to make it as simple and easy and user-friendly as possible. So, yeah.
And you do a lot of, I'm trying to think of the name, like pearl colours and funny colour metallics.
Yep.
Iridescent, is that the right word?
Chameleon.
Chameleon,
Yes.
Sorry, that's right.
Yeah, colour shift, yeah.
And that's been extremely popular with the Gundam crowd.
Yes, yeah, and the car guys as well. A lot of the Gundam stuff sort of crosses over between all the other subjects as well, because Gundam's as I spoke to you once before on the podcast about the Gundam stuff.
Yep.
It's universal because it's not a real thing. It's a make-believe TV show.
Choose your own colours.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can paint it like a car, you can paint it like a tank, you can paint it like a plane, you can paint it whatever you want. So there's a lot of crossover between a lot of our colours between a lot of different genres.
Yep.
And the metallic pearls and the chameleons, colour shift chameleons and things like that, the car guys love them. At the same time, so do the Gundam guys.
I think you're about the only one that's doing the chameleon type colours, though. I haven't seen them anywhere else in the world.
Oh, there's a few overseas.
Okay.
Alclad did originally.
Alclad did for a while, yeah. And I think Green Stuff World did a new one in one of the Spanish companies.
Right, okay.
They've started doing them as well. But
maybe also Gaia Notes. I think they did something like that.
yeah,
maybe
there was for a while.
they got weird stuff going on.
Yeah. But we tried to be different.
Yeah.
That's why we did the chameleons early on in our range. And now we're doing all the pearls because there's not many companies that do the pearls either.
No.
And if they do, it's only a small selection. At the moment, we've got 23 pearls in our range.
Wow.
So,
That's impressive.
yeah,
That's terrific.
and they sell really well.
And you're also a local success story because you're local here in Victoria,
Yep, Ballarat.
which is fantastic.
Thank you.
So if anybody who's listening wants to actually go and have a look at your range of paints that you get, what's the best place for them to go and have a look?
On our website,
Yep.
www.scalemodeler.com.au.
That's all one word?
One word. And that's our full range on our website. We can ship Australia-wide. There's no dramas there. People get a bit funny, the lack of paints and that, but we're allowed to ship surface. That's one of the laws. We're allowed to do that. So we do that regularly across the country. We've got stockists in pretty much every single capital except for Canberra and Hobart and Darwin. So we've got a couple of stockists in Perth, got one in South Australia. We've got most of them are in Melbourne, a couple in Sydney, a couple in Brisbane.
What about our overseas listeners?
We have a stockist in Singapore, Hobby Mate. They're our stockist and distributor for that area. In the USA, we have USA Gundam Store, which are based in Florida.
Yep.
They are a distributor for the USA, as well as our stockist over there.
Well, the USA makes up quite a large listener base for this podcast, so
Well, that's good.
I'm pretty sure they'll be pretty excited to hear that.
Yeah, so that's usagundamstore.com, their website.
Yep.
There's a massive order heading over there at the moment. It just got loaded on the boat a couple of weeks ago, so it's en route. So they'll have that early July.
Terrific.
And in New Zealand, we have one stockist in Vagabond Games in Auckland, and they handle a small selection of our range as well.
Anything in Europe yet?
Not at the moment. We do ship occasionally to there if we can get the surface option going, but we're still working. We're talking to a few places over there, but because Europe's very heavily saturated with other brands, it's hard to push in.
Yep. So in the meantime, if somebody from Europe is interested, you'll quite happily ship it to them?
If we have the option to do that, we can do that.
All right, wonderful. All right, Scott, well, it's great to see you again this year.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Keep on producing really good stuff because I love using it. It's great.
Thank you.
I'd like to see some Mopar colours.
I'll have a look at them.
And I'll be slipping over there to buy some more later on this afternoon as well. So I'll see you then.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Scott. And next up with us, we've got Dan from Mecha Workshop Melbourne. G'day, Dan. How you going?
G'day. I'm good. Yourselves?
Oh, we're having a great show.
Yeah,
absolutely great.
Yeah, it has been tons of fun this weekend, hasn't it?
It has.
Yep.
So tell us about what Mecha Workshop Melbourne does.
Well, we've been around since at least 2002.
Which came as a surprise to me. I didn't know you guys have been around that long.
We've been through a few iterations. We actually were trying to find the oldest photographs we could. And 2002 were the oldest ones we could find to prove. But it's possible we've been around for longer. We spent years doing displays and workshops at conventions like Oz Comic Con and Manifest.
Okay.
And yeah, we've been at Model Expo for years now.
Yep. So mainly you guys build Gundam?
We are a model agnostic group. We got people from all walks of life and build all sorts of stuff. Tanks, planes, lots of science fiction and fantasy models. We got a couple of resin builders. So yeah, we're not a plane-only club or anything like that.
But Gundam certainly is a big focus of the group and science fiction stuff.
Oh, yeah. Everybody in the group really likes their sci-fi, so there's lots of robots and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and lots
absolutely.
of Gundam.
And I haven't looked at your club display and you got some really interesting stuff on there.
Very eclectic.
Our members love doing things that will get responses from people, both good and bad.
Yep.
And we always do a club display every year, and we pick the most ridiculous thing we can think of.
Yep.
Every year, yeah.
So, is it a young club in regards to the age of the people in it?
No, we got people as young as 18. We don't allow anybody under 18 for reasons.
Yeah.
And we got people in their 60s as well.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a very wide age range there. Everybody comes together once a fortnight and we all have fun.
And what about yourself? What do you mainly prefer to build?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing a lot of resin figures, a lot of anime-esque stuff.
Yep.
But otherwise, I've mostly come from a Gundam background.
Yep.
And been branching out. I've done a tank and a boat.
Oh, a boat or a ship?
Well, it was a ship. It was 1 to 700 in photo etch hell.
I love photo etch.
Yeah.
Is that sarcasm?
No.
I love photo etch.
Ian and I both love it.
Yeah.
Gundam is that really interesting sort of area that is sort of, only kicked off in the last, 20 years, I guess?
Yeah, well, the franchise has been in Japan for, I think, more than 50.
Yeah,
But in the West, it's only really taken off since the late 90s.
Yeah. And a lot of us old modelers sort of see it and look upon it as a entry or feed into the more traditional sort of modelling, like aircraft and tanks and ships and that sort of stuff.
We often sell it as that as well because the technology Bandai uses is really good for kids and unskilled modelers because they all snap together cleanly.
Yeah.
Yes,
no
they
glue,
do.
nothing needed.
Well, I'm actually started my first ever Gundam kit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
A Jajara something. It's a red one.
Okay, yeah.
One of the
right.
space ones.
The names don't matter. You can't say half of them anyway.
No.
That's right.
But the thing I found is just the engineering is just second to none.
And you cut your teeth on those, and then you move to your older, Tamiya kits, and you get into some good dragon tanks.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Some with a very high parts count.
The Gundam, and you're saying the engineering is just absolutely superb, and the way you can just go and just clip it off the sprue and then click it together and off you go. There's a built kit. You don't have to worry about painting or anything like that. But obviously, those particular kits lend themselves to going that next step if you want to do it.
Yeah, and one of the really good things about them is because you're not basing it off a real thing. If you want to paint it like a car and have like hot rod flames and a high gloss armor parts on it, you can do that. You want to paint it like a tank, go for your American military colors, weather it, do your chipping and weathering around the mechanical parts. You can bring all those skills that you'd use on a tank over to them.
And it releases it from those historical constraints like you'd normally have with an aircraft from World War II or a tank from Vietnam or something like that.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about that. You just go in there and just build for the joy of building and paint for the joy of painting.
Yep.
Can I just ask, within the Gundam sort of building community, how often do people really stray from the colours as they're presented in, say, the TV shows?
Oh, all the time. Even Bandai themselves love to re-release kits just with different colour for collectors that don't paint. People will always grab a kit, and it might be some ridiculous primary colour because it's from a show targeted at kids, and they'll repaint it something nice and cool looking.
But the other thing is that the kits themselves come with not just one base colour. There's multicolours plastic within the kits themselves.
Yeah, everything is usually pre-coloured, and the part separation is really nice for that.
I mean, I recently bought a teddy bear Gundam for my granddaughter.
Ah, yes.
It had little stickers and everything you put on, and she had a wow of a time. So I was sitting next to me as we sort of built it together. It was awesome.
Yeah, they're very cute. Did you see the IPMS club display of those last year?
Yes, we did.
Very well done. Very well. I think they ended up winning the whole club display contest.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, best in show for club display. Yeah, absolutely.
No surprise there. That was hilarious to look at some of the designs they'd come up with.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Really shows people's imagination.
Gundam over in Asia is absolutely huge.
Oh, huge. I've gone over to Japan many times to different events over there. Yeah, because a lot of that stuff is still really hard to get in this country, whether it's just Japanese brands of tools and paints or the models themselves. So, yeah, I go over there every couple of years and buy a lot.
Any particular shows you go to over there?
Yeah, there's a resin one called Wonderfest. It's a backyard resin, so it's all hobbyist sculptors that are allowed to produce their kit and sell them for a day, right? And there's often a lot of aftermarket resin parts for your Gundams and whatnot as well. So, but they're not sold any outside of that event.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're a real true die-hard Gundam builder then, wanting to go all the way over there.
Japan's easy to get to.
Well, from here it is, absolutely. Anything exciting coming up in the Gundam world, new releases or anything like that you got your eye on?
I think this year's been a bit slow for releases, but we've got the Gunpla Builders World Cup, which is a big international competition run by Bandai, and the Australian heat's in Sydney in July.
Yep.
So that's a big thing that a lot of people in the scene are building for at the moment, and that brings out some really skilled builders.
So how do they judge for that? What's the criteria for going into that competition?
Well, because it's obviously sponsored by the company that makes them, one of the
be
criteria is how well does it sell our product?
It has to be a Bandai kit.
But, usually there's the skill of the builder, how much, what's that word? Presence it has on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's lots of big, intricate, and powerful models.
The wow factor.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's one that won a couple of years ago. Is this gigantic retelling of the Medusa fight from Greek mythology.
Right.
Right, yep.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they don't just build the kits out of the box, they kit bash.
Yep.
Yeah, they will get 8 of the same kit and make a big centipede out of the torsos or something. So
Oh, wow.
People do
dedication.
some really amazing things with them.
And in this competition that's run by Bandai, and here's a hint to other model manufacturers, maybe it's something you can think of as well in the future. So it's worldwide, so you have your heats within your own country, and then you all go off to Japan for the final?
So the winners get flown to Japan, or just their kit if they can't go.
Yep.
And then they have a big event in Odaiba in Tokyo, which is where the big 1-to-1 scale moving gigantic Gundam is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's big thing, and then they actually have them on display in a big shop, like a flagship store there as well for the year.
So the competition is you build for the competition. You don't have to build on the day. You actually build your kit over a period of time and then just enter it like you do at a regular show.
Spend years on their entries.
Yeah.
Most people probably spend 6 to 8 months.
Is it permissible to have LEDs and have electronics in the kits as well for the show?
Yeah, and a lot of people do. Some to really good effect, some to poor effect. We've seen ones with spinning shields, but that wobbles. And,
that takes it out of it.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, you've got to get the engineering down right, don't you?
That's right. There was one entry last year that got disqualified because they had running water in it. They put an aquarium pump in there, but it was splashing all the models, so they're like, nah, get rid of it.
Seriously? Oh.
But, props for the
controversy within
there.
the competition.
Sorry, it's a good way to edge the competition out too.
Yeah.
Get away from my kit.
Yeah, exactly.
Geez, just the logistics of actually taking a kit overseas to enter in the show, that must be mind-boggling.
Look, I've done GBWC in Sydney 4 or 5 times now, and I got this big hard case with those foam things that you
inserts,
pull the little squares out of it,
Yes.
make it just the right shape for your kit, and you got to think about how you're going to pull it apart and then put it back together later.
I can understand travelling within a state or going interstate with the car because you can pretty well wedge your kit somewhere in the car safely, but going on an aircraft just terrifies me taking a kit with me.
Yeah, you'd have to carry it on your lap.
Yeah, well, one guy did a snow diorama for GBWC a few years back, and the TSA stopped him and checked to make sure that the snow was snow.
It wasn't cocaine.
Yeah, and they damaged it in the process as well, so he wasn't happy.
No, you wouldn't be at all.
Well, you got to love the TSA.
Oh, yes. Guitar smashers.
So, Dan, when you travel over to Japan, do you go over with a couple of empty suitcases?
I go over with my suitcase is done like nesting dolls, one inside the next, right? And I speak enough of the language to be able to take a box to the post office and ship it back every couple of days when I fill up my suitcases.
Oh, wow, you buy that much stuff over there, do you?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I get a shopping list from my club as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look, there are stores like the Volk store in Akihabara, which is, Nerd Central Japan. It's just an entire suburb of model shops. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's all... They actually have a second-hand store market in Japan, which we don't have here. So if you want to sell some of your backlog, you have to wait for an event like Model Expo here in Australia.
Yep.
In Japan, there are shops you can take them to.
Seriously?
Yeah, shops will buy them back and sell them. There's even places where there's just a bunch of display cabinets and you can rent a shelf and put anything in there for sale, and then the store will facilitate the sale for your thing, and you can just come in and collect and then add some new stuff to the shelf.
Oh, we're so backwards over here, aren't we, compared to Japan?
Japan's model scene is madness compared to Australia.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah.
Definitely would be.
One day we're going to have to get over there, guys.
Yep. That's a definite, yes.
Yeah. Podcast from Akihabara. See what big model shops look like.
Yeah.
I think we'd probably be too stunned to be able to speak.
Absolutely. Dan, thanks very much. You want to plug your model club?
Yeah, so Mecha Workshop Melbourne, we're based out of Altona. We meet on the second and fourth weekend of every month from the Hobson's Bay Men's Shed. Everyone's welcome. Doesn't matter what you build, doesn't matter your age. Come have some fun.
And of course, there are thousands of Gundam clubs all around the world. So, is there, like you have IPMS, is there something similar in the Gundam world?
The biggest one in Australia was originally started by Scott Taylor. He's still the main person for it. Is Gunpla Builders Australia. So it's also sponsored by the Australian distributor for Bandai models as well.
Okay.
Oh, that's handy.
Well, they run build competitions through Facebook every couple of months. And it's a great place to learn new techniques.
Oh, would be, definitely, yes.
Terrific.
Fantastic.
Well, Dan, thanks very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
And we'll keep our eye open for some of your future builds. Perhaps you're going to enter the Bandai competition one day. And we'll see you over in Japan or something like that.
Yes. That'd be great.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, thanks, mate.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
And hello to the table, Robert.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, you've got some interesting stories about working very late on Friday to get your models finished for the show.
I don't know how interesting it was.
Well, it's not interesting, but I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, probably on the Friday, I suppose it was Friday. Yeah, Friday night. I was up till 6 o'clock in the morning trying to finish off kits. So, no great story. Just very, very, very tiring. But then I got up the next morning and kept working on them, and they were almost finished when they got here. They sort of look finished.
See, is there something to do with lack of planning there or something like that?
No, I'm very good at planning. It's execution is the problem.
So how many kits were you still working on?
Well, 8.
8
kits.
8
wow.
kits. See, I was building a whole bunch at once.
Yep.
So it was they were all at the same level of unfinishedness.
Yes.
And in the morning I was putting the headlamps on because I'd used a beautiful Molotow chrome pen.
Oh, that's
pen.
beautiful stuff. Yeah.
So I was just gluing the lenses on those. But I didn't have time to do all 8. I did 7. One of them's still missing a lens.
So we've essentially got Robert on as a cautionary tale to all the other modelers out there.
Yes, don't be me. In fact, that's good advice for everything. Just don't be me.
Yeah, and also, you did the swap and sell. You were a vendor at the swap and sell.
I was, yes.
How'd that go?
I did quite well. I had quite a few kits there, but they didn't sell very well. I sold 3 kits all up. Mm-hmm. But I sold lots of books. All but two books I brought in I sold, so that was really good.
That's good.
And I also had some aftermarket, which I sold, so that was working out well.
Fantastic.
And what I've got to say is I didn't smell anyone.
Yes,
no, I think because it was more open.
Yeah, the new room they've got is very much larger and,
I think it's really overstated, the smelling thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. But having said that, the new room is the hall, I should say, they had it in, is a lot larger, so it can cater with the hundreds upon hundreds of people who are there.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure at the opposite end they had a door or a window open because there was a breeze coming through.
Oh, well done.
I was actually speaking to Ed from IPMS, the people that run the show,
yep.
and he actually said that they thought they had more people in this year than they had last year.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. It was a bit hard to tell, because it's such a big room. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I did a time lapse video and I posted it on our Facebook page, and I walked all the way down the line just to show people how big the crowd was.
I was in the line last year, and I got here, I think about 9:30, and I couldn't believe how long the line was. People are desperate to buy old kits.
Some people get here at 8 for something that opens at 10.
Yes, absolutely crazy.
You, being a vendor, you get access to looking at all the other vendors early, don't you?
I do.
Oh!
That's one of the main reasons I went there. I had plans. I was, going to look for certain kits.
Yep.
Of course, none of them were there. So
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, but I did pick up a couple of things I wasn't expecting to do. So that was good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but it always amazes me the things people will buy. I see things that, I'm thinking no one would ever want that.
And they do.
And they're the first things people want.
So tell me, how did you go through your process of deciding what you were going to sell at the swap and sell? I mean, you obviously went through your stash and thought, I'm never going to build that. Talk us through the process about how you decided what you're going to let go of.
Well, I often get enthusiasms for things, and then I buy lots of them and then think, I'm never going to do this, I've lost interest. So those things will go. If, for instance, I'm interested in the Battle of France, I was on the podcast once before.
Yep.
I started off, I just wanted to do Allied stuff, but the best kits, there were hardly any, and the best kits were German ones. So I built a lot of German stuff, and then I decided, I don't want to do the German stuff, they're a bit too Nazi for me. So I kept reading the stories about you sort of machine gunning refugees and stuff. I thought, no. And also, when you build them up, the grey and brown kits, it's really hard to make a nice looking model out of a dark grey and dark brown kit.
Yeah.
So that's another reason to get out. But so I was selling off some of those, but they didn't sell. But the main thing I noticed is I had some Zeros that I used to like. Well, I still do like just buying kits. And when I was buying lots of Japanese aircraft, Hasegawa would bring out lots of Zeros and think, I'll buy that. I'll buy that one that's got different decals. And I had a lot of Zeros.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll sell some of these off. I never sell them. People will not buy a Zero.
Really?
I priced them really well.
Yep.
But they see a Hinamaru one, not interested.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And that's all I bought. All I bought was Japanese.
You didn't buy a Zero though, did you?
No, because I've got a few Zeros still. I don't need any more Zeros.
I think that's the problem. Everyone that wants a Zero has bought a Zero.
Is it like the coat hangers thing where you put 2 in the cupboard and then you open it up and there's 4 in there?
It could be like that. There's never any less, I know that much.
You might have to keep dragging them off. There's another couple of swap and sells coming up towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think I'll have to be cutting the price down. It'll be sort of like buy one kit,
get one
get
free.
a free Zero. And then people will be like, I don't want the Zero. It's funny because the Hasegawa kits, they're really nice.
Oh, they're beautiful kits.
Yeah.
Well, since I did judging, I got into the raffle that's done for the judges, and I got a Zero out of it.
Yep. Too bad it wasn't a Hasegawa one though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
How did your judging go this year? You haven't really spoken much about that.
Yeah, it went really well. I judged two categories: the 35th scale Axis stuff.
Yep. Modified,
unmodified. Really good front runners. There was a lot of Shermans in there. With one had a loose idler. It was like dangling on by a thread, and a lot of the tracks weren't properly conforming to the sprockets, so you had to mark them down for that. Yeah, but there were some really good ones in there. One of them was a Yag Tiger, I think it was, and that would be like exemplary for the reference material, because it was like he matched the photos absolutely perfectly.
Wow!
And he got the recognition for it, and as a result he won.
Fantastic.
And we can't go past without talking about the fact that you got first place this year in your model you entered.
Oh yeah. I was because I mean,
tell everybody what it was.
So it was this little T28, and I didn't tell anyone on the podcast because I was afraid that someone might go, play Julian, I'm gonna fix him up by putting something better in,
No, everyone loves you, Julian.
Right. Like I have no idea. Like I know we've got plenty of listeners, but you never know when someone might decide to undermine your efforts.
No, they wouldn't do that to you.
We're all a happy bunch.
Yeah. Well, in any case, I put this. I just bought a simple little 72nd scale Troubadour T28. I painted it reasonably nicely. I put some washes on it, and I kept it simple. And I threw it in there, and it won. I was concerned that like some of the other ones that had a bit more sort of visual interest might win, but it didn't turn out that way, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Well done.
Very well done.
And Dave, you picked up a third.
Yeah, I picked up a third from a little Italian Corvette. So I only entered it just so I can get in and out of the show at a reasonable cost, and came over the third. So I was pretty chuffed with that. next year I'm going to have a crack in the 1/144th scale stuff and start building some of them and into one of them in.
Yep.
And of course, Ian, you got a commendation for your...
Yeah, I got a thanks for coming.
Well, commendation's still
No,
pretty
well,
good.
the commendations are unofficial, sort of like 4th, 5th,
Yeah.
6th
Yeah.
place, basically.
Yeah.
Right? It means you got through the first stage of judging, and but you didn't get first, second,
Yeah.
or third.
But I didn't enter it to get a place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get in cheap.
And there's some pretty stiff competition in your
Oh, yeah.
category as well.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
yeah.
That's the first time I've entered in that category. So
I got a commendation too for my little chicken nose fuck wolf.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. I was
all right.
hoping it would do better, but it didn't. So you never know what's going to be in there.
So the tank surprised you, but the aircraft disappointed you.
yeah, I guess.
Is
Yeah.
that what you want to
It
say?
was a nice kit, and I did a decent job on it. And,
Yep.
Oh, well, I guess the competition was more fierce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear what I got?
What'd you
Yes,
get?
please.
Nothing.
Did you enter anything though?
I did. Actually,
okay.
Julian judged the
That's
category.
and he took me down there and he pointed and said, "This one beat you, and this one beat you, and this one beat you."
Just rubbed your nose in it.
Yes, yes.
But did he say why?
No.
Well, I did a bit. I mean, I can't remember every kit and why all the little differences. I mean, that's what the score sheets are for, to keep
Yeah.
track of all the incremental differences. But yeah, I mean, better luck next time, Robert. lift your game or something,
Just make sure Julian doesn't judge.
Yeah.
The main thing is, I only paid $5 for getting to the show for the
Whole 3
weekend.
days.
Yeah. Exactly
It's
right.
great.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Totally great.
All right, guys. I think
No worries.
that's about
Okay.
it. And we'll be back to have a chat about the rest of the show shortly.
Cool.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up the show now. We've had a great 3 days, and to help us close off this special show, we've got Martin back again. G'day, Martin.
Hello, everyone. It's been a great show. Really, really happy. Actually, my wife is going to be more happy than me.
Why's that?
I've invested a grand total of $74.
Invested.
All I've been able to find that's grabby is getting masking tape and some brass tube.
Wow.
I feel like I've just got to buy some kits just for the sake of it.
You need to.
Well, I reckon I've probably spent about $100 on tools and another $200 on kits.
Well, you've beaten me.
How about you, Julian? What have you been snaffling up?
So I bought an A4.
Yep.
A4E.
Yep.
Skyhawk. Yeah, I bought that. I bought a boomerang and some aftermarket stuff to go with it. And I think that's it.
But I did have an absolute Twilight Zone moment at the show. Just before, a couple of hours ago, I get a text from my wife going, "Do you know a Julian Hosmer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And it turns out that one of my wife's friends is the mother of a schoolmate of Julian's.
Well, there you go. It's a small world, Julian.
Yeah, I know.
Look, he's got that rabbit in a headlight look.
Yeah, so now I'm going to dig down and see if I can find some dirt on Julian.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, I think it's been a really great show this year.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
The crowds have been huge. The biggest highlight for me has certainly been having a look at the Wingnut Wings bits that you had over, Martin.
Yeah, for the Hanley Page and the Lancaster.
The Lancaster just blew me away because the detail in that is, I'm still gushing over it.
Yeah, I mean, my highlight when I look at those sprues and getting the chance to, like, really up close is seeing the slide mould technology on the exhaust stacks. You know, they're not just holes in the end of the exhaust. That's one thing. But they've actually moulded the baffles inside there.
Yes, I know.
My goodness.
Yeah. How they've done it, I don't know. But and this is the point I'm at. I'm really conflicted looking at the crispness of the moulding.
Yep.
I just want to go and buy the darn thing. but I could never see myself building it, and I've got nowhere to put it afterwards.
Look, if you're a real modeler, that's not a consideration. It's all about having the box with the plastic at home so that you can get your glass of wine or your cup of coffee and just go, ooh, nice. Not that I've ever done that.
No, of course you haven't.
Never.
What's also been great is the amount of listeners who've come up and seen us over the weekend and said
it's
hello.
Been great.
Brad was walking around earlier on, one of our listeners, and he said, I heard somebody talking and I knew it was from the podcast. So it was one of you guys that he was behind while you were
fantastic.
talking.
All right.
And he goes, but he didn't know your faces, so...
Oh, well, that's right. That's anonymity, mate.
Oh, let's face it, guys. You got great faces for podcasts.
Says Martin.
I'm pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Julian, what's been a highlight for you for the show?
Oh, I don't know. I've been sort of like just darting from one thing to another. Well, the first couple of times I attended Expo, I had so much time I could just afford to just scrutinise sort of every little kit individually and just do that a number of times, just walking around the tables with other people that I knew.
Yep.
Sharing opinions and thoughts.
And that's part of the joy of it too, isn't it? You go around, you can do a couple of laps, but you come back and you can come back to another table that you've been to before and you see something different you haven't noticed before of a particular kit.
But I haven't done that this year. I've been too busy.
And I quite enjoy going back and looking after the judging's been done and seeing which one's got first, second and third, and just having a look at the why perhaps that model got first or that one got second. I find that an interesting exercise.
Yeah, it's a good point, David. And the other thing I'd like to encourage modelers that are listening to this episode is that next year, come along and judge. So what happens, I mean, I judge each year, and don't feel awkward if you've not judged before or whatever. What's really important is that you'll be paired with someone who is an experienced judge. And I'm sure Ian would agree with me, is that it's a great way to learn more about your hobby and your craft.
And indeed, not just this show, but any show wherever you are around the world.
Yep.
Just put yourself forward to the organiser and say, hey, I'd like to do some judging this year.
Yeah, if for no other reason, the free pizza and going in for the raffle for the judges.
Well, we don't know what IPMS over in the States do, or what Telford do, or how they do it, so they might get something different. Probably in the US, you probably get ribs.
Yeah. So, no, really good. And the other thing that for me was a highlight was that they've moved into a larger room for the swap and sell.
Yes.
So that worked really, really well.
It still filled up pretty quick.
It did.
It did.
But you didn't have that mass sort of grinding of people.
You can move around a bit, yeah.
So that's been really good.
Well, what helped me with the getting through the crowds was I purchased the Fujimi IJN Congo.
Your battering ram.
So I just used that as a battering ram and just plowed through the crowds.
Although coming out, you nearly had a disaster, didn't you, Ian?
Yeah, I was walking down the steps and a big gust of wind came up and I bought a new fine moulds Babs, Mitsubishi Babs, and the wind caught the edge of the box, flipped the box lid up. Instructions went flying about 2 or 3 stories down.
Oh, no.
Bits of sprue are starting to fly out of the box. I thought, what's going on here?
Collected everything? Got everything?
Got everything.
Yep.
So, nothing lost, nothing damaged.
Yeah. No, it's funny because, I had a stall up there and Ian walks past and I'm thinking, look, I'll be polite, I'll be a gentleman. And, he's looking a bit sort of awkward as he's got his Congo under his arm. I said, look, I've got a bit of space here. You can leave it here and collect it on your way out. And that's what he tells me, no, it's my battering ram. It's all good. No problem.
Yeah.
You weren't tempted to sell it once he left it behind your stall?
David, what happens in the swap and sell stays in the swap and sell.
Oh, geez, you guys.
But no, I spent a bit of money myself.
Yeah. What did you end up buying, Ian?
Well, I got the Congo. I bought the fine moulds Mitsubishi Babs, a Hasegawa Frank early model. Yesterday I purchased a Oshima Type D Japanese transport submarine, and today on my way to get some photo etch for the Congo, I accidentally walked past the figure section and bought a figure that would every boy's dream.
What is it?
It's a dinosaur with a half-naked woman in it.
Don't you like the way you say accidentally walked past?
It was. I wasn't expecting to buy it, but I was like, oh, okay, yep. I can see the merit of that kit.
Well, I ended up purchasing a M88 A1 Hercules, which is the tank recovery unit the Australian Army uses as well as the US.
Yep.
A couple of 1/144th scale Thunder Chiefs, Lightnings, the British Lightning. I think that's about it. Mainly the rest was tools and paint that I got.
You just reminded me I need to go buy some sanding type stuff.
From God's hand.
Oh, not necessarily, no. We'll see. I'll go check out their prices, but it's something that I forget about.
You know why God's Hand's called God's Hand? Or God Hand?
Why?
Because you have to be a god to pay the prices they're charging.
All right. or is it because the hand of God slips down into your pocket? That's one I've heard.
Oh, that's probably a better reason.
Our friend Paul Gloucester gave me that one.
Yeah, he's not half wrong on that. I wouldn't mind trying some of their foam sanding stuff because they curve, so I might have a look at that. But I'm just a bit concerned about the prices because my wallet's taking a bit of a dent already.
Yeah, I bet it has.
Oh, well, such is life. What about you? So you said you've only spent $70 so far.
Yeah. So I'll have a look around. I'm sure I can find some stuff to put on my swap and sell table next year. I'll kid myself I'm going to build it, and then look, there's a couple of things that It hasn't been for the lack of desire. It's just, I suppose, at the other side of it, it's been so busy on the stand, like busier than I expected. I knew that it would be popular with the wingnut stuff.
Yep.
But people are really intensely interested in the stuff, and then going through the sprues, as you said yourself, people are just gobsmacked. So lots of questions, which is great, which is what the shows are all about, and trying to get all of this stuff out to the public.
Yep.
Well, I've had a huge range of guests on the show for this episode. Unfortunately, we missed Brett Green.
Yep.
He slipped through our fingers.
Yes.
So we'll have to definitely catch him next time.
Yeah, hog time.
Richard Alexander, unfortunately, couldn't make it, but I was pleased to see that he shared some pictures that I'd posted about his Lancaster. So that was nice. And so hopefully Richard make it out next time, so we'll get him on the show then.
Yeah, because he's been out the last few years. It was just ironic that life didn't work out. The time he couldn't be here was for the 10th anniversary. But it was really great. I mean, he put the trust in us, and he also sent over one of his builds.
Yeah.
So that's been a really interesting talking point for people as well, and sort of mainly like, how did that survive the trip over from New Zealand? So
actually, it's a good point. How did it get across here in one piece?
Well, I learnt a lot about packing. What they actually did was it's a solid plastic tub, and just lots of like plastic bags, the sort of things that are being phased out at the moment. Shopping bags. Just white shopping bags, loosely crunched up, a layer of probably about 20 centimetres on the bottom of the tub. Each plane has been just delicately placed into a bag, sat down, and then again more of the loose bags crunched up and put around the outside and in between the planes. And then another sort of 20 centimetre layer on top. And both planes survived the trip over.
Now you just got to get them back to him.
In one piece.
Well,
That's if they end up getting back
to you. I was enjoying Expo till now. So there may be one less person for on the bench after I deal with Ian.
That's all right. We'll look after Ian for you.
Oh, everyone does.
Auditions for the third person are coming up.
Not a chance.
All right, guys. Anybody got anything else to say before we sort of close off?
Not really.
No.
All right. Well, I'll have a closing comment from you, if you don't mind, Martin.
Yeah, so look, I think all up, the show has been good. I don't know if it's been mentioned before from any of the other guests. Record number of entries this year.
That's right.
Yes, we had Lawrence on from the one of the show director who had a chat with us earlier on, and he was mentioning 835 kits entered for judging, plus the club displays brings it up to around 2,500-3,000 models.
Correct. So, look, it's been a really good team effort, and just call out to the various modelers and clubs out there for Expo next year. Please just come along, contribute. It's a well-oiled machine, but many hands make light work. So.
And not just us either. Anywhere around the world where you know that a club display is going on,
definitely
put your shoulder to the wheel and give them, the organisers, a hoy. Or if you're a club member, get your club organised so your club can have a display at your particular local show, wherever it may be.
Yep.
Ian, closing words from you.
Oh, I can't wait to get home and soak my feet.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at my app. I'm averaging 6,000 steps each day of the show I've been here.
But lots of walking around, lots of talking, and I think I'll be glad to have a feed and just put my feet up on the couch and maybe watch a movie tonight and relax.
Julian.
Yeah, I've felt a bit of strain on my throat, actually.
What? From talking to you?
Yeah, just yakking to people. Because sometimes it's a bit loud and you have to...
Yeah.
Sometimes. You wouldn't think so, but it is sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go
true.
home and I'm going to get a lot of sleep because I've been getting up early to get to the swap and sell. And
Oh, because you're not an early bird, are you?
No.
So just getting up at like 9 o'clock in the morning is foreign to
I've
you.
had to break bad habits. My normal habits of going to bed at the crack of dawn, you know.
No, thanks.
Oh, dear. All right, guys, we'll sign off. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back with another episode in about a week, I think, after we drop this one, because this will be our show special. And then we're back again a week after that for our normal show. I haven't figured out what we're doing for that one. You guys got any ideas?
Not as yet.
We'll talk about that offline and find
We
something.
will.
to yak
We
about.
can always do a bit of the sort of post expo breakdown.
Yeah, we could.
Yep.
What about buyer's regret?
There's no such thing as a model at buyer's regret.
Not so soon after Expo.
Unless you bought the HK model
hang on.
Lancaster.
I challenge that. True, but go talk to the people with their swap and sell stands.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So true.
All right, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll be back.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.